Oh, wait a second. Let me just make sure the outside, because YouTube's on a delay, so I want to make sure I mute the video on the outside. All right, there we are. Okay, hopefully it's going. Let me see. All right, very good. Hello, everybody. We need Simos here with the BroJo Show. Gonna have the BroJo Show. What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Vic, and right now we have nobody watching, but I know some of you guys will be watching later on. So we're just doing impromptu clickbait news, where we just pretty much go to Drudge Report and see what catches our eye, and critique the stories of the day. So I'm here with Captain Chaos.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wasn't that a real character somewhere?
Yeah, on Cannonball Run with Burt Reynolds, and that's Dom DeLuise.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him because his character's name in the movie is Victor.
Oh.
Yeah, the Cannonball Run movie. So it's alter ego is Captain Chaos that comes out to save the day.
That makes sense. Okay. So we're going to see you in the Chaos mask soon?
Yep.
A Photoshop version of Vic with a mask on. Chaos
I'm wearing
mask.
my stash right now.
There you go. The fucking stash, right?
Yeah, I'm getting older and fatter, so this will be a good excuse.
Do you wear a mustache like that?
No.
Not now, right? Yeah.
I don't think I ever had like a solo mustache like that because I look too Mexican.
Dude, man, this mustache was something of the day, huh? I remember, man, I look at pictures like me in the fucking 80s with the stash. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? It was the thing then, right? And now, in some ways, it's coming back.
I think it is. Yeah, they had a beard, and now people are doing that whole like weird mustache thing, you know, with the waxing it, and all the hipsters are doing it.
I'm so when I see, I don't know, I see a guy with just a mustache, and I can't help but think about, you know, it's the old Chris J joke 70s porn thing.
I think it's kind of creepy.
It is creepy.
like Tom Selleck, you know, he's got a creepy mustache, but then he had those like little tiny OP shorts on. So that was kind of creepy.
OP, Ocean Pacific?
Yep. Remember those corduroy shorts?
I don't remember those corduroy shorts. I remember the shirts. I might even still have a shirt lying around of OP shirt.
Oh, nice. I had a couple.
It was, a very colorful shirt.
Well.
But yeah, the stash is creepy. And I hope it doesn't make a comeback. The last time I saw somebody, I was at some occasion, and this guy starts walking up, and he has the stash on, and he was just, I guess he was about 5'6", skinny guy, looked like an Italian face, you know, the typical Guido look from the 70s in New York. It was like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Like you just came through a time machine or something? Something happened?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, anyway, let's see what we got. Let me get the screen share going. Screen share. You can see if somebody's in queue or not, right?
I don't think I can.
Oh,
I think I only see myself in there.
Okay. All right. Well, someone might come in, and just in case I don't see it, let me know. Okay, let's see. Does that work? You see, let's see. You see, oh, there we go. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so here we are now. looks like Drudge already updated their page from the last time I saw it. But anyway, impeachment.
Yep.
Should we deal with the impeachment or the war or the quote unquote war first?
Oh, I don't know. They got impeachment up there, but I mean, the impeachment thing is pretty much just the House fighting over to let him go or bring in witnesses because Pelosi wants to hold on to. They want to have witnesses come in and testify and you know, people take oath and all this. Where was it McConnell, the old buzzer looking dude? He just wants to speed it up and get it over with and have no witnesses and just kind of like reminds me of almost like the remember the 9/11 commission thing went on and they had Trump and Cheney go in there with no lawyers, no recordings, nothing at all, just in and out smiles. It seems that's what they wanted to do. They just wanted to get him in and out of there, where the Democrats are trying to get him in more trouble by having witnesses that were there during the call and on both sides of the call to really, you know, dig their claws in and hopefully for on their side to get him impeached.
Well, here's my take from right, Pelosi, they're supposed to bring articles of impeachment to the Senate, bring the stuff, evidence, whatever, so they can do their vote. And just like they have a quote here, Pelosi saying how urgent it is, you know, we have to take care of this, get him out of office, you know, like he's a big danger. And now here we are, January 9th, nothing. It's been quiet. They have it's like I almost feel like they're hoping that and you know what, it's weird is that since this whole war thing happening and everything and the holidays, some people probably have forgotten already about the impeachment.
Right. There's so much going on.
Some people probably believe he's been impeached when technically he's not. I mean, he was voted, but it still has to go to the Senate, right? And all this other stuff. So I part of me thinks that Pelosi and some of the Dems are hoping that people just forget and they can leave it off like, yeah, he was impeached. See what, you know, so come 2020 election, see what we did, you know.
Right.
I don't know.
It's hard to say. Also, maybe they're seeing which way the whole war, not the war thing, but I mean, let's face it, he went in there and he took out a major general. So that's an act of war right there. And maybe they're hoping to see everything went bad for him. You know, like, holy crap, now look what we're doing. We're all dying. But, I mean, the little game they played was kind of smart because it got a lot of people riled up on the right, especially the old white people. Like, yeah, the president's got some balls, you know?
Right.
And then at the same time, everything's just kind of stopped because they gave like a 6 or 12 hour warning before they bombed the U.S. bases, and they're already halfway cleared out anyway. So now Trump is saying like
Iraq got to, you know, of course Iraq was told too.
Yeah, Iraq just wants to stay out of it. Iraq's like, we don't want none of your crap or their crap. You know, they didn't want to have anything to do with it at all. And so now we're just like, the Trump goes out there, he's like, everything's good. We hit them, they hit us, and that's it. They're gonna call it even with no casualties. It's just like some little.
It was a little show.
Game. Yeah.
It was.
Yep.
It did seem like a show. Did we get this general? I mean, I don't know. You know, apparently he was blown up to pieces, I guess.
It's hard to say with the way the media is and how the news is. You really can't trust anything anymore. You can't believe what you see anymore. It's like magic.
Right. Yeah.
It's like introducing movies to somebody in India in like 1904. You know, they're going to freaking fall on the floor. Oh, golly, oh, lordy. And
yeah, it's scary. But yeah, everybody was like, well, oh, the shots, World War III. It was singing all over social media. World War III stuff. I'm like, no, it's not happening. Iran might have, be powerful, but they're no contest for the U.S. We got them totally surrounded with bases around there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to happen. Really. This was just to say, it was just a show. Yeah, it was a show, like I said. And if we
only thing that had me like a little not concerned, but like a little moment of like who's staging what and what they're going to go is when they had the that plane that crashed, that Boeing.
Yeah, that was like interesting.
and they're supposed to be headed for Ukraine. And it's like, oh, okay, is this how is this how the Russians are going to get involved in some weird way to start some kind of big war? This will be interesting. But they didn't mention anything about it, really.
I know. And apparently, wait, it crashed in Iran, or was it Iraq?
It was after Iran launched the missiles at the U.S. bases. They don't know if it hit it or not, but it was shortly after that. I think it crashed in. Yikes! You know what? Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know which was, but I know that they're not giving up the black box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah,
like it did crash in Iran. Yeah.
I did find an interesting thing. I was like, wait a minute, wouldn't Russia is siding with Iran? Aren't they kind of like buddies? And why would they, take down a Russian plane?
Well, it wasn't. That's what I thought at first too. But it was Ukraine, a plane out of Iran to Ukraine. So it was mainly Iranians and some Canadians that were on board. So it was just headed to Ukraine from Iran.
Okay.
So they might have messed their own self up. A little friendly fire there.
I hear you. Okay. Oh, so we got a few joined us. Hey, Ronan's out there. Hello, Ronan. Stan the man, our number one fan, always outside chat. Denise, thank you. St. Tommy, hi guys. I think Ronan, you're already part of the us. All right, you know what I'll do. If you guys want to come on in, I dropped the link in the outside chat. Yeah. And I think Ronan, you're still in that chat, right? You said you were. Yeah, you're still there. Okay. So yeah, come on by. Say hello.
Yeah, hola.
Hola. Yeah, I got a lot of this is winter kind of downtime, so I'm gonna try and do more hangs.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's much more to say about that.
Right, yeah.
I
mean, other than I guess, yeah, there's not too much to say. I know some people that were looking almost forward to some major catastrophe or big war.
I know some stocks took a nice jump.
Yeah.
Cerberus is telling me Lockheed Martin stock jumped up. Of course, it's expected. Gold made a nice big jump even before this even started. It was making it, but that's pulled back. I don't know if some of the stocks might have already pulled back. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's like the war machine has to make its move and make some money.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it was good. Yeah, you make a little money and come,
off fear,
and then get it out. Yep. Yeah.
I wonder if I could start my own company working for the military. I'll start making bombs right now.
Well, someone you should say, take advantage of any kind of mishap.
The Jews, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so here we are on Drudge Report. So impeachment trial next week. Okay. What's this? Conway mocks MAGA church. Okay, so what the hell is this? Yeah. First look, anti-Trump Republican video mocks MAGA church.
You have a church?
Now, I've heard of mega churches.
Yeah, what's a MAGA church?
So what's a fuck? MAGA church, the first digital video from the Lincoln Project, a group of anti-Trump Republicans, takes aim at President Trump standing with evangelical voters, interspersing clips of him talking about faith with videos of him speaking crudely.
Was it anti-Trump Christians?
These are anti-Trump Republicans. Right.
Oh.
This is almost like anti-Jesus Christians.
Yeah, right? Yeah. We get the message, but we don't like the man.
Why I'm mad is Trump has recently taken steps to shore up his evangelical base after oh man, this is becoming a tongue twister. After an editorial in Christianity Today a magazine founded by the late Billy Graham, attacked his gross immorality and ethical incompetence. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what this video does.
Evangelicals, Christians of every denomination, and believers of every faith have never had a greater champion, not even close, in the White House than you have right now. I think you know that.
You just gotta love how he just keeps patting himself on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's like it's too comical. You could tell he's playing like a wrestler does, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm the greatest. Oh my God, nobody can beat me. Ugh. You know, he's like he's so full of shit, but it's like it's entertaining as hell. I hope he goes for another 4 years. I'm gonna vote for him again.
So now I guess they're calling him an antichrist. You saw they posted that scripture.
Wow.
So they're calling. I guess they call him Antichrist. Yeah. What a surprise! Another president, another Antichrist.
But he was the savior. You know, he was the great white hope. He was supposed to save the republic, and now look what he's done. He's like a.
I thought Reagan was supposed to do that.
He's the Anakin of his day. He's like, right?
Reagan was thought the Antichrist too.
Yeah, it was like 666. Was it Ronald 6, Wilson 6, Reagan 6?
Ronald Wilson Reagan.
Yep, 666. I remember that. Yeah.
Or Gorbachev.
Right.
Because he had the mark on his head. He had the birthmark on his head.
Yeah, the mark of the beast.
He's the beast.
Yeah, it was like some freaking, what's that one, The Omen? You know, that little mark on the kid, they try to kill him. Oh, man.
Let's see what else we got here.
Yes. Prayer? Let's pray together, may we? Yes.
Father, I come to you in the name of Jesus.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? Why do I have to repent? Why do I have to ask for forgiveness?
Skillful and godly wisdom have entered into the heart of our president.
You ask a lot of stupid questions.
I have never seen a more biblical president than I have seen in Donald Trump.
We have never seen a more biblical president. What's that even mean?
Right? That's what it sounds like. He's like Jesus-like, or
uh-oh, the dog is loose.
Oh, the neighbors are cleaning up their yard, and every time they make a little noise, they freaking go crazy. Hate these dogs.
Most biblical president ever.
That's who said that?
I don't know who said that. It was just, this is their, I guess, promo video. The MAGA
it's probably just some like church goer or like promo. Yeah.
Now, why would you call yourself, if it's Make America Great Again, right? And that's a Trump slogan for his, election. Yep. Why would you call yourself a MAGA church if you're anti-Trump?
Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I thought it was a church for Trump. Almost like that's almost like a cult following. This is it's different than what I thought.
Okay. First look, anti-Trump Republican video mocks MAGA church. I don't know. I'm confused here.
Oh, right. Yeah, now they're going now. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it just me, or am I stoned already? I don't know. I mean, because the headline says anti-Trump. First look, anti-Trump Republican video mocks MAGA church. And then I come down here, I'm looking in the article, MAGA Church, the first digital video from the Lincoln Project, a group of anti-Trump Republicans.
Yeah, that's where it messes up. That's where it gets twisted right there. I don't know.
Okay, let's just see.
Right now, let every demonic network.
You are the enemy of the people.
Let it be broken. Let it be torn.
Now, this woman here, this blonde, that's Paula White. She's like she's a very popular evangelist. She's,
Yeah, she got blonde hair chick, that skinny one, right?
Yeah, so she's, she's attractive, televangelist. She's charismatic, right? But there's so much scandal around her too.
She looks like the white woman that lives down the street where you could go get laid. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like a punk kid, you know where the whores are at. Could stand out line.
Oh shit!
She gives out free juice. She looks like that kind of woman. I knew a couple of them.
Anyway, she's I think she's divorced at least once while in ministry. She was messing around. And
That's not very biblical.
I know, right? And then there was issues of her. There's always issues around these evangelists.
Yeah,
their extravagant lifestyles.
It's like in the old days, we would stone that bitch.
Yeah,
I mean, for her cheating on her husband, you take her out to the street and just whip her like Christendom times, just give them a good old Muslim style wacky. The way the Muslims are keeping the tradition, like the Christians lost.
Yeah, Paul. If Trump is a biblical president, I guess it's okay. He can order your stoning.
Yeah, he rained fire down in Iran. Makes you feel like God.
Down in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
Here is the Republican platform.
And if you don't support me, you're going to be so goddamn poor that President Trump.
That's hilarious.
That is hilarious. If you don't, you're going to be so goddamn poor.
Goddamn poor. That's good.
Oh, man.
And he says stuff like this. That's what's funny about it. He just says things that are just. He's a car salesman. He just doesn't know what he's saying sometimes. He just wants to make the sell. He gets so caught in the moment. He'll say something wrong and not even notice it.
4 more years just for the entertainment value.
Yes, just for the entertainment.
Because after him, I mean, I think it's going to be boring.
Oh, yeah. I think so. It's going to be like cleanup. Like after the party cleanup, you're like, I guess we'll just kick the can around, go home, and try to lead normal lives again. Party's over, guys. People are in the street yelling, and going crazy, and children crying, and girls from other countries over here trying to tell people how to live, and we're just laughing at it. We're just like, having a ball.
Do you think, man, it's just strange.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. I'm finding like we were looking at like the Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes, right?
Oh yeah, that was funny. I had to show my daughter that last night. It was pretty funny.
Right? But do you think with Trump coming in, maybe it's part Trump, maybe it's part social media in general and the internet, that people are getting emboldened?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with the internet, I think you could just voice your opinion. Especially like a place like here.
But it's coming out more in the more public, like with Gervais doing it right out in the open. Not like the bold, the keyboard warrior. But
I think in the old days it was like the jesters, like the court jesters, and they became comedians. They were very had a lot of satire. So the comedians were always like undertoning, making fun of the way things were, especially in the media in Hollywood. People like Bill Hicks, that old fart guy, Carl, I forget, the guy with the beard on
and George
Carlin, that's him. Yeah, I mean, it gets a lot of politics and a lot of stuff comes out in there, and then with social media, it just exploded.
Yeah,
and it's like stereotypes. Stereotypes usually are little truths about things, and things are getting more exposed, and people are just outright, naming names and pointing fingers now. They don't care anymore because part of it is that you don't have to be scared if everybody knows about it, because that's kind of protection in itself,
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have to shut up and you don't have a way to get out, but if you could tell the whole world about it at one time, then you feel more safe that nothing will happen to you, because everybody knows if something does, they know who to point the finger at. Yeah.
Oh boy. Unless I don't know. If Ricky was found dead in like within the month, wouldn't that be suspicious?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Especially if it was killed by a little ice dart that says FBI, CIA on it.
or his brakes went on his car, or
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Do you think somebody's gone into his house and moved things around just to give him a little
Like, yeah, right. Like the old mob days, you know. Let me over there, you know, kind of rough up his dog a little bit, slap his daughter around.
You know.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see what. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying it's very like mob tactics. You know, like when I think of that kind of stuff, I think of first of all, I think of like kindergarten through 6th grade sandboxes, and then yeah, it's just like kid stuff. It's weird. Like nobody ever grows up. Just clubhouse rules.
Yeah. Nope.
Trump is not reelected.
Here is the word of God.
There is going to be a backlash against people of faith like we cannot imagine.
Where do you stand?
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters. Okay?
I watch it.
I remember him saying,
I remember that too. Yeah, that's pretty bold. Yep.
oh my God. That's
Nothing
great.
to say. Yeah.
A man that comes out and fights for righteousness.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. The Pope would have only wished and prayed
Thank you, sir, for uniting our nation and calling us to prayer.
that Donald Trump would have been president.
I think the Pope needs to seek Donald Trump's forgiveness.
He's a
That's crazy.
Needs to seek Trump's forgiveness.
Yeah, he said the Pope has to wish and pray. I mean, that's man. I mean, it kind of like, is it the stuff he gets away with because everybody knows he's such a child and they don't care about it, or in some ways are they kind of like pussying down and not standing up for themselves? Does everybody ever retaliates against what Trump says in a way? They kind of just roll it off, like when the kid that cries wolf, he walks up and down your street, wants to fight everybody, but he never does. You know, he thinks he's a tough kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like real bold, but you know he's dumb. I don't know.
I'm sorry, wait, I gotta put this joint out. Yeah. He's a big mouth. He doesn't know how to control it.
Right? And you know, a big mouth, especially in the schoolyard, one day that fucker's gonna get punched right in the mouth by somebody and put him in his place.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened in that way yet.
I mean, you know that shit's gonna come up in the debates.
Oh yeah.
You know, that will be. Hey, you said this. Quote him saying this. You know, and then just show an opposite action or inaction. All right, let's see. Let's get through this freaking promo. I can't even believe I'm going down this. We've got. I love. You know what I love about this? We go down rabbit holes.
Right? Yeah.
It should be called the rabbit hole.
That'd be a good title.
I think God put him there.
Get that son of a bitch off the field.
Let the angel of the Lord encamp around about him.
God raised up, I believe, Donald Trump. To say no to President Trump would be saying no to God.
Yeah, that's Paul White quote.
Mm-hmm.
Say no to Trump would be saying no to God.
Man. And all the Christians that like her, especially like the perverted Christian men, you know, they love pretty Christian girls. They kind of like women. They kind of like, or they call them girls a lot of times when I talk to Christians, but they're real fascinated by that. So they'll believe her just to have the fantasy of getting closer to her.
You know, I don't know. Christians think that Trump is really a Christian in the sense that we really know amongst these debate communities. I mean, do you think Trump knows his Bible?
Oh, hell no.
Do you think he might know maybe a couple famous scriptures? He might say John 3:16, right?
Right, yeah.
That's probably the only one he does know, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he knows much about the Bible or, why he calls himself a Christian. But I just think, just like you go back to the founding fathers, my guess is that since most of the country's Christian, you got to have that popular vote.
Yeah.
You got to have people voting for you.
Yep.
So, claim yourself anything otherwise is,
Yeah, it's like politician after politician after politician. No politician really keeps the promises they make on the campaign. it's just all bullshit, and everybody calls it bullshit.
Very few. I mean, they got to keep a couple, right? I mean,
well, yeah, they try to.
They got to be able to keep a couple. If they want to get reelected, and that's what all those backdoor deals happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Listen, I'll do this for you. You know, I really shouldn't, but I gotta get my votes. So when it's time,
strong arming, mobbing.
But the manipulative saying here, if you say no to Trump, you're saying no to God.
Yeah, that's a horrible message to send to Christian children.
And a lot of Christians look up to Paula White.
Yeah,
and a lot of these preachers,
they want to do her. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
If those ugly ladies saying it, nobody pay attention.
And this is where you're playing with fire here. Like it's supposed to be no church. Church and state separate.
Mm-hmm. What happened to that?
Yeah. Now I get the crux of it is to not have a state church, right? I get that.
Yeah,
but I think he named her like she's like the minister of the White House or something like that.
Really? Dang.
Yeah, like they have like some kind of office they gave her. Chaplain or some shit like that.
As nasty as those people are, maybe he's doing her. I want to know Foxy bitch in my house since I was getting a chance to do her.
By the pussy.
I try to put my mind in Donald Trump, his frame of mind. And yeah, he's probably trying to hit that.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
I don't bring God into that picture. I don't. Romans 13 does give President Trump moral authority to use whatever force necessary. I'm going to bomb.
Wait a minute. Romans 13. Okay. Oh man, now you piqued my curiosity. Now I'm wondering if this is the scripture that deals with every government is God ordained. And that the believers is saying to the believers, you submit to the government because that government is God ordained. I wonder if he's pointing to that. I have to go look now.
Sounds like it.
It sounds like Romans 13. Yeah, it's been a while for me. Yes, it is. There it is. Romans 13. Let me take that out. What do you see it on your screen? Bible Gateway? Or no?
No, I just see that. Well,
okay.
I'm in the stream. I don't see this, the droid report.
Okay. No, all right. Let me I'm glad it does that because I'm moving between screens and everything. So it helps me make sure the porn don't come up.
Right? Close those out first.
Okay. Share screen. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Romans 13. From Trump to Bible study. Let me okay. Perhaps I'm not a fan of the NIV, so let's go King James. Let's just go King James.
Okay.
All right. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? Now, let me go New King James this way, because I know that can all sound a little bit confusing. So we get a little bit more modern English here. And there it is, subject to the governing authorities. Some versions say government. So right there in 1 and 2, it's pretty much saying, yeah, you resist the government, you're resisting God.
That's a way to keep them in line.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Got to merge them together, you know.
Here's verse 6. For because of this, you also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due, taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to fear, honor to honor.
Dang, control.
Yeah, you think so? Right?
Oh, yeah. Control 101. This is like the private classes that they didn't want the poor people to listen to, you know. How to have control.
Yeah, you know, if you have a different take on this, because you know what I'm obviously seeing into this, and the implications of this, if like some people would say the scriptures are for all time, all places, a literal word of God, and if that's true, the implications for this are, I mean, you're looking at, oh, okay, you should obey a government as like Hitler.
Yeah.
Nazi Germany. What? If you're a Christian in Nazi Germany and you're reading Romans 13, is that are you? You know what I'm saying?
It makes. I mean, it does make a good point in a way to get people to, you know, love your government. You put the fear of God in it, and hey, it got locked down pretty well.
Now, some will say, and it'd be a good point, but I still would say submission to such a tyrannical government, I don't know, but this is a book of Romans. It's Paul writing to the church in Rome. All right. So if we just take that for what it is, and you know, it was for those Christians.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, yes, they were advised to just submit, just to avoid going to jail, avoid any kind of avoid crucifixion, you know.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is not always the worst advice, you know?
Yeah. Well, it was Paul that was kind of like a salesman himself, right? Trying to get people to get into Christianity by bending the rules a little bit, like avoiding circumcision, wasn't it? Like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, is this like, you know, so yeah, it just sounds like tactics to get people to join and obey and pay.
But yeah, at the same time, it sounds like it's, used again.
Mm-hmm.
Governments invoking a name of God to control the masses.
Yeah, and that forces them to bow to the government, pay their taxes willingly, and not, you know, going against anything. Because if they do, they'll be going against God in a way, and that's not good.
So I can honestly say I see this two ways. I can see both sides. But how many of us are guilty of this anyway? How many of us know that you pay too many you pay a lot of taxes, too much in taxes? It's crazy.
Yeah,
the amount of everything has a tax on it or some kind of surcharge, or we see the tolls going up, the road tolls going up. Oh man, I'm from New York, and I check in over there once in a while and see where the tolls are at. I mean, if you know the Verrazano Bridge, I don't know if you know the Verrazano Bridge. It goes from Brooklyn to Staten Island in New York, right? Mm-hmm. One of the longest bridges in the country. But to go on that bridge now is, I believe it's $19.
Whoa, to cross a bridge?
$19, yeah, and that's yeah. Well, that's to go both ways. At least you get that, but still, that's almost $10 to go over the bridge.
Yeah, right. Is there a workaway around that, or is that like the only way to get there?
There's no workaway around it. No,
that's crazy.
If because you'll either hit another bridge, or you're gonna wind up paying. You're just gonna gas in time. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm like, how much does it take? How much would it take for the people to rise up and revolt against the taxes and the high cost of living?
Yeah.
And how many of us are silent? We keep quiet because the big old IRS, they're gonna come and jail me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I don't know if I think we touched upon an article the other day. The what do they say? Personal audits are on an all-time low because of staffing, or they just got bigger fish to fry. And despite we have the numbers, the fear of government, just like in this Romans 13, right? And meanwhile, we're supposed to be running the government. We're supposed to be the government.
Yeah, but they put that fear into people at a very young age. It's like when when the draft card comes in, you better fill it out and turn it in, or you're gonna, you might go to jail. You got to follow rules. You got to follow stupid laws. Like I think one of the stupid laws they have out there is jaywalking. Now I'm smart enough, retard, to know when to cross the street and when it's safe and when it's not. You shouldn't be ticketed for that. That's retarded. But they'll ticket you for crossing the street safely, looking both ways and all that. Anyway, just to get you a ticket. So they make you obey a stupid law like that. I don't know. It's just.
Or making a right on red where you're not supposed to at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they trick fuck you, man. It's like trick fucking you. It's like. Yeah. Or they'll like what they call it when they target somebody by the way they look rather than what they do. Instead of following vehicles and seeing if they're properly registered or if profile, yeah, they'll get you because you look a little weird or something. You look a little too dark for being in this neighborhood, or I don't know. It's just they do that quite a bit.
Let me look in the outside here. Brother John. Yes, Ronan, I'm here. What's up? Come on in. What is the link to join? It's in the Hangout, Google Hangout. All right, you know what? I'll drop it here.
It's a stinky link.
We're gonna have an argument about taxation now.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. All right, there's the link. Brother John does not like tolls. No, I mean, okay. Here is my view. And people keep thinking that I'm like totally anti-tax. And I'm not, because I understand. Welcome, Ronan. I understand we need things to get done, right? We need an infrastructure in place, yes. Just like the interstate was built, right? Apparently, right, for military cause to get from one end of the country to the other, and that just opened up our economy, all kinds of shit, right? But we need the roads. We need the roads. That's for our own safety. That's for our own protection of our country. All right. So yeah, I don't mind taxes as long as they're used for the roads. We need the police and fire department and ambulances. We need those. I don't mind taxation. A lot of places, they still volunteer these things, and they're supported by the free will contributions of those in the community. All right. Because they understand the necessity of having such things. So police, fire, roads, and so I don't mind paying taxes for those things. There was another thing. Oh, for the courts. Courts. We need some kind of courts. So I'm for a minimal government. What they would say, I think they use the term mini anarchist. So I understand. So I'm not like this, hardcore libertarian. What is it? What is it? Anarchap? Not anarchist. They're I forgot the term they use, where they want totally no government.
Anarchist or just
anarchist, or this? I think there's even another name.
Nihilist. Nihilists don't give a fuck about anything.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, Ronan.
Yeah. So what do you guys say?
Me?
Yeah, you had something to say about the tolls? I don't like tolls, or
Well, Brother John had discussed it before, but
right.
to me, it's like, oh, okay, that's just society not knowing what it's really doing. So taxation would seem, too much. But we're not taxed as much as other countries. There's other countries with heavy, heavy taxation. So we're really getting off kind of light. But for the fact that we're here, right, in this space, we can't look from the outside in, we look out. So looking out, we can say, well, our taxes are too high. I can agree. I can agree to that point, but for the fact that a lot of people in politics would rather try to get away with things.
But Ronan, okay, well, Ronan, all right. To say, oh well, we're not taxed as much as other countries, so that doesn't does that justify being taxed? Or
Well,
or with that logic, doesn't that mean well then you might as well give all your money away? What get taxed 100%.
well, no, that would be unreasonable. But I do agree with the idea of taxing the very, 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 very rich, right? A much higher percentage. I've heard that statement so many times.
Yeah.
Those people have so much money they could never spend it all.
Right. Okay.
And all the thing is that if they made that money on their own, right? All the labor, everything, they did it on their own. Sure, they can have it, but all of them use other people to get where they got. So I'm not playing games with this guy saying, well, yeah, you did good work. You pat on the back. You did good work. Here's a nice little bonus once a year, but I'm taking the majority of profits for myself. Again, they can't spend it. So the point is, in society, it's a balance, because if we allow them to have all of that money, the middle class is reduced to nothing, and we go back to kings and peasants. Okay? That's the whole mentality here. And the balance thereof includes a big, very big middle class. So that means we have to tax the very, very rich at a phenomenal amount, not 100%, maybe 60%, 70%, in that range, right? They're still going to be incredibly rich, right? But the thing is, they got it, and our mentality is, well, I want to get there too, so I don't want him to get taxed.
All right, Ronan, but the other thing is the mismanagement of these taxes and the fun.
Well, yeah, again, they try to get away with it.
Because I understand
human nature. That's human nature.
But Ronan, I mean, are we? Well, you would think, okay, the right thing to do, right? If I'm making all this money, more than I'll ever need to spend, that I would put that money, invest that money in other businesses, and to create, and create jobs, so other people can have. And I think we say that a lot of companies do that.
Well, okay.
Bezos, of Amazon.
There's very, very few companies that do that. I can cite 3M.
How many 3M jobs has Amazon created?
No, the majority. Put it this way: Jeff Bezos. How many
jobs has Microsoft created?
Well, they can't go into construction, for example. That's why they don't invest that money, because they don't know anything of that field. Okay, that's why those people say, "Well, I'm going to keep my money because I made all my money in stocks," for example, or Jeff Bezos, or Microsoft. Anybody, they're not going to go outside of what they know, so they're going to keep that money. Again, they can't spend it in their lifetime, and I'd rather have them taxed at a very high rate.
This is why you have that kind of money. You go and find people who do have the know. You hire those people who have the know. They're called consultants.
Sure. Henry Ford did that. He wasn't very bright in terms of engineering. He just hired the best people. Now, he knew how to manipulate, these resources to obviously get rich. Great. But he got rich again. But if it comes down to paying his laborers so little that they can't barely, subsist, it's like there's a problem here. There's
like Edison and Steve Jobs is a good example. Everybody knows Steve Jobs for all this Apple crap, but really, what did he really come up with? It was his hired help that came up with the ideas and made everything happen. He just
right. He was smart.
It took both of them to make it happen, though. That's the thing.
Well, no, that's just
everybody is good at everything, And when you yeah, you a lot of times you're gonna have the front man, and then you're gonna have the person behind the scenes.
Yeah, but when it came down to the end of it, he was just gay that died of AIDS. Sorry.
Bad. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying that it's a nice little dream to be the king, and everybody wants to be the king. But obviously, if there's one king, there's a lot of peasants, and
that's why humanity sucks so much.
If the peasantry does not have suitable support in society, this country will be run over because
they want to drag each other down.
What's that?
They want to drag each other down. Everybody wants to be on top.
Yeah,
they
because
don't want to help each other. They just want to be on top.
That's fundamental nature. That's just fundamental nature. Yeah. But since we are sophisticated to the point that we can, perceive abstract ideas, we can go out here and say, look, all these other societies were kings and peasants before, and they fell, like communism, like other ideas that fell, because they didn't have a robust middle class. That's the answer to it all. If you think back in history, everything was the kings and peasants, the shogun, and I forget what they were called.
We're headed now.
Yeah, but see, that's history.
We're headed.
And we keep repeating it.
The gap is getting there. The gap is larger and larger.
Right. So, like I said, the idea is to make it a very robust middle class. And we can do that by taxing the extremely rich heavily.
Well, about forget the taxation. Do you think we would have this problem? Because a lot of the money out there doesn't fucking exist. Right. So a lot of this wealth is purely on paper. Okay. So I think things would be a lot different if we had a more sound money. Let's go back to a gold, silver based currency. Sorry, I know people don't want to hear it, to some form or another. Because we've gotten out of control. That's where these gaps are starting. So a lot of this wealth is paper. It's just,
but indirectly you're making an argument against the stock market, and those people that own stock would feel threatened. That's where that balance of society is off. I can agree with you.
You have all these instruments.
It would negate the stock market.
But I'm no, I'm not an economist, right? And I hardly invest in the stock. I don't hardly invest in the stock market. But anyway, speculation. A lot of it is speculation.
Right. But like I said, to your point of going to a gold or silver standard, I can agree. However, if you look into the actual model that you're creating, you're going to have to eliminate something to compensate for the difference. And one of them would be the stock market, for example.
Yeah. Well, a good portion of what it is now, because a lot of it's fully automated. Computers are running the stock market.
Yeah, like you said, it's all paper. It's all digital. It's all like right now our stock market is high, like they brag, but it's artificial,
right? Because
the corporations are buying their own stock,
and the Federal Reserve is injecting all that money, printing the money, keeping it afloat, and sooner or later inflation's got to kick in here.
Oh yeah. But see, a bigger issue now is that it's all interconnected. All of this money is interconnected internationally. So it's like the oil standard right now, right? It's like, wait a minute, they're all interconnected, and the banks are all interconnected. So it's just one big machine right now. You're right. Like I said, you're right. But a gold standard would be great, but for the fact that the majority of the world doesn't want to do that, they want to be, like you said, paper tigers.
Let's see what Stan is saying here. He's printing a bunch here. BIS.
A Jew gold standard.
Reset. Yep, I agree, Stan. I think a reset's gonna come. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt many. If you're not ready, you're not prepared, it's gonna hurt. In some ways, I'm prepared, and I still don't feel like I'm prepared, fully prepared.
It'd be cool. It'd be interesting if it happened. Like, bring it on. Let's see what happens. That'd be
people are frustrated. They want it to happen already. Because we've been hearing about this shit for years.
Get over with already. Come on.
Yeah, right. Pull the fucking Band-Aid.
Okay, let me. I'm going to read something. It says U.S. official : spy satellite evidence suggests Ukrainian plane mistakenly shot down by Iranian missiles.
Ooh.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Oh.
So they got more evidence. It's like,
So it was a Ukrainian plane. I thought it was okay.
Oh shit.
So if the Iranians know what they're doing, they didn't just shoot these recent missiles, right? Mistakenly. No. They knew where those missiles were going.
They shoot that.
It's a hint. They're hinting. They're very. Iran invested heavily into missiles, like we do for the soldiers. They did it for missiles.
That's a smart move where they're at.
So they can reach. I mean, they can reach Israel. They can go that far. Yes.
I mean, they have to defend themselves for if people think they're.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump, for tearing up the deal back in 2015.
It's not going to happen. They know as soon as they put something in Israel, it's over for Iran. You kidding? It's over.
Well, but like I said, they're going to shoot a lot more missiles before we can get troops there. I mean, we do have the B-52s.
You don't need troops.
B-2. I'm sorry, the B-2. They're already staged. I forget the place. It's an island, I believe, but they're already staged. So yeah, everybody's just everyone's posturing right now. They're just posturing. A little tidbit here, little tidbit back.
I don't know why they just don't freaking blow up the freaking mosque, build the freaking Temple of David again, so everybody could see Jesus is not coming back, and everybody just get on with their lives. That's what it's boiling down to.
I'm saying President Trump is going to back down. I'm saying it right now. He's going to back down.
He already did.
He's going to back down. It's okay. We'll move on.
Yeah,
he created a distraction to avoid, obviously answering to the fact that he's been impeached, and the Senate is setting up for his acquittal. They openly acknowledge that they're going to acquit the man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, move on. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Kings and peasants, lads. Kings and peasants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, don't move on. I just got here.
Yes, sir.
We're still here. Let's see. So here it is. Ukrainian airplane shot down by mistake by Iranian anti-aircraft missile. Pentagon.
Oh, it's a mistake. It's okay.
It's a mistake. It's okay. How many were killed? 176.
It's a mistake, though. It's all right. Jesus forgives them.
It was not a mistake.
Isn't there a song by who does Down Under? Australian band.
Why would the Pentagon say it was a mistake? Wouldn't it be more in their interest to, hey, look, see how fucking evil they are?
Midnight Oil?
Well, it's
Midnight Oil.
They're probably saying it's a mistake because they meant to shoot a U.S. plane down.
I know, right? Oops, our bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
We try again. That's good.
Or the one that goes, we come down from the land down under. Oh. Hold on.
Their album is called Cargo on this one. The guy has a gimpy eye. It's all like Stargazer.
Iran's head of civil aviation was quoted by the ISNA news agency as saying that it was impossible that a missile hit the Ukrainian plane.
Men at work.
That's it. They do a song called "It's a Mistake." It's a song about wartime too, so it kind of goes with it. Sorry.
A Russian-made missile too.
Oh, it's quality then.
Russia delivered 29 Tor M1 systems to Iran in 2007 as part of a $700 million contract signed in 2005.
Was it Oliver North and all of them were selling arms to, who was it? Was it Iran back then? Reagan and them were selling arms.
Oh, Iran Contra deal.
Yeah, right. It's like we all got our little dirty hands in there. It's a mess.
Brother John.
Yes.
Do you recall our conversation about Scholar Fiction not acknowledging me for rap debate?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Yesterday you were there and you super chatted, right? And then I listened to him. He usually reads the whole thing, but at the end there, he just dropped the end of your comment where you mentioned me. Where you mentioned me coming up.
Right. He didn't read the whole chat, but he did say, yeah, who has coined the phrase rap debate?
Yeah. And then Steve Bowden, he was there when I first coined it, right? And then he was Steve, and then I think it was Stupid Horror Energy, and they're both Ronan, put my name up there, and he's looking at the screen and just doesn't acknowledge me. Oh, okay. I thought that was cool. It's like, all right, he's jealous.
I had to do it to not only give you props, but just to...
Yeah. Well, we'll put it this way: you had verification because other people mentioned that it was me that coined it. So anyway, let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was fun. He's intimidated. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's super chat. See, that super chat can be a very dangerous. If you got if you don't care, a couple bucks, whatever, and they have, they kind of have to read everything, and people definitely see it. The shit you can, start up is pretty,
Tell them you want a refund for not reading the whole comment.
Yeah, I want to have my money back.
Yeah, I want have my money back, man. You didn't read it. Well, because most of the time he does. I know because I listen. Anyway, let's get back to this. I'm saying that plane was shot down on purpose. I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but the mistake was, like Serb said, they thought it was an American plane. Could that have been it?
No. Yeah, it's not like they pressed a button.
They invested heavily. And if you invest that much money, you're going to study and you're going to know what you're doing when you do it with that kind of money going out there to buy those Tor, I think you said, missiles.
Well, you have to gain by hitting a Ukrainian plane.
No, because that statement that you read, right, included that possibly, or that I forget the word. It's like, wait a minute. No, to me, there's no doubt because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, lads. This is their strategy. That's what they do. That's what they know to do. And that's what I'm saying. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but every time all of these things start to happen, I make comments and people disagree because no, the government said or they said or this, and then I look at it for what it is. And to me, what strikes me is to just point out, wait a minute, the facts behind it, don't really lead in that to that conclusion, right? So I'm saying like the president is going to drop President Trump is going to drop the whole thing, right? Except for those radicals in Iran and Iraq, right? They're going to take advantage of it and they're going to start bombing like military bases, for example, or embassies, for example. That's what the classic Mideastern skirmish goes on, and it's called jihad, which it means struggle, right? They go on with jihad forever, man. Forever. When they find an opportunity or an opening or a crack, they're going to take advantage of it. They're opportunists. That's the way they play that game. We're used to our style of warfare. They have their style, and that's the mistake these commentators make. They're trying to equate.
Hold on. Yeah, I want to hear from Serb.
Oh, I was going to say, if they have their own style, I mean, this explains why they're a third world country. They're mad at America, but we'll just shoot down on purpose a Ukrainian airplane.
Yeah, but they have oil now. They have oil, which means
they had oil before.
Which means we now have that missile that shot down that airplane. third
Yeah, but
world, third
when
world.
you're launching missiles at something,
Welcome to the swamp. Welcome to the swamp, third world.
Morning. Chill. Huh?
if you're throwing missiles at somebody and then you see a plane coming at you, you're going to throw a missile at that thing too, think it could be a retaliation attack. That's probably why they shot the thing down. It was a mistake. Maybe they thought it was something coming in. If you're in a rock fight, you're going to throw rocks at everything coming at you.
Yeah, it's not that they didn't want to shoot something down.
If you know how to throw those rocks, you know what you are doing.
So can we?
No, that's not true. There's plenty of situations where you can do stuff like that and not know what you're doing.
I recall it was one of the Olympic Games, and there was a team of pistol shooters from Czechoslovakia or somewhere, right? And there was a skirmish, right? And all of these other people had their AKs and they were shooting, and not one of those sharpshooters died, but they killed a lot of people because they knew how to throw rocks. Again, gentlemen, if you look at it from their perspective, they're third world, but they got a missile, and a missile, it doesn't care if you're rich or not. Really.
You're confusing experts with a small arm with a politician.
Again, I'm calling Iran the experts.
No, politicians are not experts at war.
Right, but that's why they call them third world countries. We're talking war, not the strata of the country. We're talking actual war, basic survival, and the resources employed in that theater. And so that's the point I'm trying to make. Again, I could be wrong, and great, I'll admit it when you prove it to me, but this is how I see it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this. I'm sharing my perspective. That's it.
Yeah, I just don't see how you get that from them shooting a Ukrainian plane.
No.
Oh well, again, I'm making an observation, and I'm basically drawing a hypothesis. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, okay, we'll put it away and go on with whatever.
This plane comes out of Ukrainian comes out of an airport, major airport. How do they not know that this is an Ukrainian airplane?
Incompetence.
They fight dirty, so they might assume that they're fighting dirty back by sending whatever in to bomb whatever. They'll send a little 12-year-old kid in a vest full of bombs to blow up an airport building. Why wouldn't the U.S. send in something like that? So hey, shoot it down before it gets to us.
No, but to me, it's like all those missiles. Okay, there were missiles. They landed somewhere. This is the unique because it's an airplane. Like they know what they're doing. Again, my point is, I see that they know what they're doing. I agree.
They shot it down on purpose. Yeah.
Why one airplane? Why one? They could have shot down 10, but why?
There wasn't 10 there.
I'm saying they're posturing. I'm just saying both countries are posturing, and I'm saying President Trump is going to back out.
We're probably not like dealing with JFK here exactly. Airport, or LaGuardia, where heavy air traffic. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a warning, gentlemen. That plane being shot down was a direct warning. The other ones were just hints,
So you're saying that they purposely shot down a Ukrainian airplane, knowing it was a Ukrainian airplane?
Yes, they have radar. They know what they see in radar. They know when it's.
That doesn't tell you it's Ukrainian.
It's an actual fighter plane. They know when it's a fighter plane. They know when it's a passenger.
Why
radar doesn't do that?
No, but the radar image, right, with that little blip, is larger or smaller.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are they tagged with labels? Maybe could they do that now? I mean, with satellite and stuff, could they actually have
satellite? They got satellite. They got radar, satellites, everything.
Iran doesn't have satellites.
Sonar.
They probably wouldn't have the technology to recognize what type of blip it was. They
have Russian technology, so we don't. I don't know.
But they have old Russian technology.
But apparently it works. Because if they're selling missiles, there's got to be some value to that. It's got to be. So, like I said, I could be wrong, but it's one of those things. It's on the table. Everyone can look at it, and then we'll find out, how it works out. We don't know. I mean, for a fact, we don't know.
Here's the thing. I'm not getting your logic, so I'm not even sure what you're saying is right.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good. That's good.
Well, no, because I'm not saying that you're wrong or right. I'm saying I don't understand what you're specifically saying would be right. Because it doesn't seem to make any sense what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Good. It'll make sense. It'll make sense because, like I said, I'm looking at it in terms of knowing that Iran has very, very good capabilities with missiles. They've invested heavily into it.
What do we know of? Excuse me. What do we know of the relationship between Iran and Ukraine right now?
I bet there's basically no relationship.
Right. That's the point. There's no relationship. We'll shoot down something randomly. Like I say, Iran is ready.
Well, there was a Ukrainian plane coming out of Tehran, so they're at least allowing flights to go in between the two countries.
Sure. That's the way they're playing it. They're posturing. They're posturing like we are. It's right now. It's a war of the minds with a few bodies laid to the ground.
Is this like the U.S. shooting? Is this like the U.S. shooting a Canadian plane?
Screw you at Iran. We're going to shoot Canada.
Yeah, but the people flying out
Canada
were. I'm not sure if there were any Iranians on the plane, but I do know that a lot of the people were foreigners. Right? No, wait a minute. No, they were locals. Yeah, like I said, they're posturing.
They're crazy foreigners.
Okay, I mean, this posture is kind of like hiding under the bed and shitting your pants, I guess.
No, it's hiding under the bed and shooting a gun.
Well, yeah, while shitting your pants, though. You're just kind of randomly shooting at something you know is in the room.
Yeah, but you're shooting
an
airplane. Why would they shoot an airplane when we're fighting them against us? Why would they shoot down a random airplane?
Because they didn't know what it was, and they assumed it was bad.
They have technology like we do.
Actually, well, they don't. But even then, even our radar can't distinguish between
I didn't say our technology.
Sizes of planes.
I did not say our technology. They have technology.
What is?
So did cavemen.
We'll put it this way: we'll find out. That's a good thing, and I hope to see you there, and then you can tell me I'm wrong, and hey, everybody applauds you. Great.
Well, I don't know what to tell you you're wrong about. I'm not even sure what you're saying is right.
Like I said, it's on the table. You make of it what you will. You can accept or reject it. It's it's neither here or there right now. But
so your claim is they're posturing. That's your claim.
Well, yes, they're posturing, and President Trump will back down.
And Trump's already backed down, like before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they're posturing by shooting Ukrainian airplanes,
right,
to make Trump back down, even though he already did.
Sure. If you were in a bar, hold up. If you were in a bar, right, and these two guys were arguing, right, and then one of the guys hits just a guy sitting down at a table, right, to show that, hey, I'm serious, you'd consider it. I'm not saying you'd accept or reject it, but you would consider it.
I don't know. I would think he was stupid getting an extra person on my side.
Well, okay, like I said, you may be right.
Cool. Holy shit! Look at this. Look what Stan just shared me. I didn't know this existed. This site. This is supposedly the live air traffic right now over. This is over the East Coast of the United States.
Did you say light?
Live. Live.
Oh, man. Dude. That's scary, man.
It's fucking scary.
Man, imagine that on a highway. Oh, it's less light traffic. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not downtown Los Angeles, but yeah. Okay, fine. We'll call it Detroit. Man.
That's crazy, right?
Big time.
And this is why now you know why air traffic control is like one of the most stressed out occupations to have. Oh man,
you guys are better than I am.
Will this show? Let me stop the screen.
Stan is asking if you can go what to go world.
Yeah, I want to pan out. See, let me see. Let me pan out globally. Let me see what. Hold on. Get over to Iran, right? Will it show that? I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, it does. Okay, hold on. Let me let me mute myself. Go ahead.
What happened?
Here we are. Okay, this is all right. This is over Europe. Look at holy shit.
Man, that's a lot of ants.
Fuck. Come on, is this true? How is shit not fucking crashing all? I understand. A lot of air there. I know. Underneath.
Yeah, I was about to say the pictures of planes don't really represent their real size.
And and plus we're looking at 2D here.
Look at that corridor of them going over there. Yeah.
So here we go. Here's Iran. Oh, shut up. Okay, where's fucking... How come they're not... Isn't you...
Who are you looking for? Ukraine?
Fucking Ukraine, isn't it? But right...
No, Ukraine's in Europe.
Wait a minute. Why was I thinking... I'm thinking totally different. Did I confuse? Why was I thinking Russia? Right here, right next to
That's because it's an Eastern European country that used to be part of the USSR.
No, well, right next to Russia. It was part of Russia, right?
I mean, yeah, it was part of the communist country, Russia.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I just had to go more off. It seems like everybody's going around Ukraine now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they are technically still at war with Russia.
Fucking Moscow, pretty congested. Yeah, of course. This is bugged out. Oh, shut up, Google.
And Africa basically has to.
No, that's what I was like. I'm trying to say, where's the fight?
No one can afford to leave, and no one wants to go.
Yeah.
There's no airplanes over Iceland. Well, there was one leaving over Iceland.
Yeah, there's basically no one in Iceland.
Yeah, it's only 300,000 plus people. It's pretty small.
They probably only need one plane.
It's funny.
That's a lot of business flights right there.
Yeah, South Africa.
Denise wants to see China.
She wants to see China?
Yeah, she wants to see China.
Hold on, I'll give it a chance to look.
Don't go to the South Pole. The flat earthers will come here.
Well, there you go. It's China.
That's China.
The planes will hit an ice wall.
I'm expecting. India.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh, okay. I have a question. Someone else might know this. Are flat earthers just unaware that there are actual trips you can take to the South Pole?
Yeah, people can go to the South Pole.
Yeah, but are they just unaware of that?
I don't know, but I don't know.
But don't they think like the South Pole is underneath? So,
Now Denise wants to see Antarctica.
is Denise a flat earther? No, she's not a flat earther. No. Is she?
Well, any flight you take is a simulation. You really don't go there. It's just think you do.
It's Matrix.
Yeah.
Mm. Do you guys watch a lot of flat earth debates?
Not really.
Yeah, no.
I think there's not much to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there isn't. I mean, flat earthers don't even really have as much as like super religious people as far as like what to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The whole pillar and water above and below thing.
I understand that flat earthers are Christians. The majority of them are Christians, but they don't talk about it because they just want to argue the flat earth.
Yeah.
You know,
That's their weakness.
you know, chocolate over the cake. That's it. Yeah.
how do we get this off the screen? What the hell happened here?
Well, I don't see it.
Uh-uh.
The no, the banner. I'm trying to. I don't know why this. I can't get this banner off. Huh.
Select a different one, maybe.
I grabbed it from comments. So let me see. I just gotta scroll up. Maybe that's it. Let me see. Oh no, it's probably. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Care for some more clickbait, or where are we going?
Bring on the buffet. Let's go. Whatever you like.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll share the screen. You tell me what catches your eye, okay? We did the impeachment. Oh, it says Taco Bell offering $100,000 salary amid mounting
Nice.
mortgage shortage.
Oh, wait.
They should have paid their workers better in the first place. They'd have more workers.
Wait a minute. All right, is this coming up? I don't know if you see the story or not. Wait a minute.
Only people I know work at Taco Bell are usually like meth heads.
I got to switch screen here. Here we go. Okay. You can now make $100,000 working at Taco Bell. That's definitely got to be like a CEO position. A restaurant manager.
Maybe it's predicting how bad our economy is going. We're going to be like TJ, where it's like 3,000 pesos for a freaking Reese's bar.
Huh? The Yum brand's own chain will test the highest salary in select restaurants in the U.S., Midwest, and Northeast. And also will try a new role for employees who want leadership experience but don't want to be in the management position. Current salaries for general managers at company-owned Taco Bell stores are between 50 and 80 grand. That's not bad.
Mm-mm. This is a good sign, though. If that's going to be like a regular salary for that type of position, it's going to follow. Or have you not noticed like how much prices are being raised even at fast food restaurants? I mean, it wasn't long ago where you could get a double Whopper fry and a soda for like $6 for the combo. Now it's like $11, $12 for the same meal. It's almost doubled.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything's just is increasing in cost. It's grocery costs, everything is going, and nobody's noticing. Everybody's paying attention to the minimum wage rather than the
Cost of
inflation.
goods. Yeah.
Cost of living. Yeah.
Well, it's been creeping up. Thank you, President Trump. Economists had predicted this to happen. So
don't blame it all on Trump.
Thanks, President Trump.
I don't think it's Trump's fault.
Yeah, you're starting to sound like the people that thanked Obama for everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama. Well, yeah, he did give the top 3% big tax breaks. Yeah, there was good and bad things about his administration. I'm not saying he was the best president ever. I'm not saying that. No way.
Plus, I heard he was part black. I don't know.
Well, at that level in society, who cares what he looks like? Let's see what he's doing.
One of the robot presidents, they changed color.
Orange.
Oh man, that just be a reminder. Don't make me go orange on you.
Go orange, man. Putin won't like it.
Well, Vic, since those meals are costing so much money, hey, let's just get a managerial job at Taco Bell, make some good money, and free food.
Right? Yeah. Discount, employee discount.
There you go, employee 5-finger discount.
Nacho Bell Grande you want.
But this is what's part of the problem right here. I don't know if you see this. Let me see. I see what StreamYard. I gotta go back, stop the screen share. I can't just Chrome tab. That here it is. Wall Street Journal. Fed adds another $83.1 billion short-term money to the markets.
You just dumping it in there?
Federal Reserve added $83 billion in temporary liquidity to financial markets Thursday. See this now, apparently, and this was all supposed to be temporary back in October. So they're pumping in all this money to keep this economy afloat, but now you got the inflation kicking in because you got all this fucking money in the system. Gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, but you want to have like 2% inflation.
Why can't we have 0% inflation?
Because that means your economy's dead.
Why 2%? Because we obviously have more than 2% inflation.
Well, I mean, it goes back and forth, right? You want between 1 and 3. Their target is 2% because it's smack dab in the middle.
But they're not counting in the cost of food into that equation, are they?
Oh, and inflation. Well, I mean, depends on how you calculate it, but some do.
Exactly, and come on.
It's like, for example, we in 2015 we had 0.2% of deflation, but the last time we had any sort of appreciable deflation was right after the crash in 2008, and we had deflation of 2%. Right? I mean, when an economy like ours has deflation, that means shit is breaking down.
I was listening to an interview, and they say an unusual thing is going to happen where you can have inflation. What would you say? Inflation and the price and a stronger dollar. This is going to be kind of a rare thing, or if you never even had it before. Strong dollar and inflation happening at the same time, going up for a short, brief period of time before this crash. This is what some are speculating. Some economists. Others are saying the dollar's going to just take a dump first.
Well, I mean, the strength of the dollar entirely depends on foreigners exchanging for it. Right? It's almost not even attached to inflation.
But aren't all these dollars that be the Fed's pumping in going into federal markets? I mean, the other markets, foreign markets, and they have. I mean, sooner or later, that money's got to come back, right?
Well, I mean, it cycles.
If it all starts flooding the system, when we're going to get inflation?
Well, I mean,
how much you want back?
Well, okay. Well, I mean, inflation's a complicated subject, right? So you can have inflation in some markets and not have inflation in other markets when you pump in a bunch of money. It all depends on how it gets distributed, right? Before it gets taxed
But you're not a part.
They're saved.
You're not going to pump a bunch of money into it unless you're going to get something back on your investment. You're going to get a return on it. And when they say short term, does that mean that the interest that they put out on it, if it's not paid back in a certain amount of a short term that's being required, then how much does that raise it up later? Then you're going to have another crash, just like the housing, where they got everybody on that pay no interest now kind of scheme.
Well, yeah, but the Federal Reserve only loans to banks. Well, I mean, in rare occasions they loan to other giant things, but I mean, crashes aren't caused. They are kind of sort of. That crash was caused by people taking loans that they couldn't pay back.
Right.
Right. Most crashes are caused by excess money to people.
So if the banks take excess money from the Federal Reserve and they can't pay it back, they just blame the people for it, right?
Well, no,
they blame it on the people in a way. That
if a bank can't pay back the loan to the Federal Reserve, the bank just goes into default and the Federal Reserve writes it off.
That's the insurance.
There really isn't. There's not giant consequences to a bank not being able to pay off the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a game for them. It's just like they don't care. They got so much it doesn't matter really. It's more like positions and names and titles and.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, okay, so a lot of people think how a bank works is that they get deposits from members of the bank, and they loan that money out for interest, right? But that's not actually how it works. How it works is someone comes in for a loan. Right. Okay. The bank goes, approves the loan or doesn't approve the loan. But let's say they approve the loan. So they give the guy the loan. The guy gets the money. And at the end of the year, the bank does all of its books, tallies everything up and goes, okay, we need such and such amount of deposits to cover how much we have loaned out. Because most of the year they'll have more loaned out than they're supposed to. But they have to balance it at the end of the year. So they go
balance it today, daily.
No. End of the year.
But they're not balancing it out because if it was balanced, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, no, this is how they balance it out. They either take a loan from another bank, or they go to the Federal Reserve and get a loan, and all that money does is sit in the bank. Right? The bank can actually give infinite loans. Right, they actually a member bank can give as many loans as it wants, right?
And then that loan is an asset for the bank because it's like they created that money, right? And then they can use that for other investments.
Yeah, I mean it is a business, but being a member bank of the Federal Reserve means the Federal Reserve has to loan you the money when you ask for it. Right, a member bank literally has unlimited credit.
I want to bring up let me find a good place to start this. I want to bring up a video for you and tell me what you think, sir. Hold on.
Okay, while you do that, I want to point out, people are always arguing about the government bailing out the banks. But what the government gave the banks was less than like 5% of what the Federal Reserve gave the banks at the same time. The government did almost nothing. Most of the government bailout was actually to businesses other than banks. The banks don't actually need the government to bail them out.
Banks are the government.
And this is why you need to regulate them, because they essentially have unlimited power.
All right, this is a channel I came across. Do you know George Gammon?
Gammon? I don't recognize the last name.
He's a real estate guy, but he's been making some of these interesting videos I've been finding. Is that coming up on your screen share?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to play some of this video. It's 13 minutes. You know, the thing is, to fully understand what's going on, you almost have to like watch the whole video. But
I'm willing to watch all of it. So so I want to understand what it's about.
Okay, let me. All right. And Sherb, if you want me to pause it or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'll just yell at you.
Yeah, just yell at me because you probably I don't know if you're gonna agree with this guy, disagree with him, and whatnot.
You can pause and discuss.
Yeah, we could do that. Here, I'll start from the beginning. So he's talking about this guy Brent Johnson, who makes these kind of predictions, and so here he go into the bubble. It's gonna happen. Here we go.
Brent Johnson reveals shocking predictions. I'm going to explain these to you in 3 simple, fast steps. And of course, Brent is huge on Twitter. He is constantly featured on my favorite podcast, that is Macro Voices, and my favorite place to find video content, Real Vision TV. He is an investing legend. So let's dive right in. Step number 1, the dollar bubble. Ironically, it all starts with quantitative easing. When the Fed starts this program of money printing and dropping interest rates down to 0, the whole world sees this. Emerging markets, Latin America, China, and they think, like everyone else, that the dollar is going to get crushed. So they take out as much dollar-denominated debt as they can for 2 reasons. Number 1, they can get a better interest rate than borrowing in their local currency. And number 2, they think, just like a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, that they're going to pay that debt back with cheaper dollars. From 2008 to 2015, all of these...
I want to say that that's all fairly accurate.
Okay, good. All right. And that's what he's saying because the rates are some countries negative, so our dollars appear is more attractive now and getting stronger.
For very large businesses and investors, right? If you're just sort of if you're like middle class, you don't really have enough money to take advantage of this,
right?
But yeah.
But I mean, somewhere down the road, it's going to affect us. I mean, that's where we're getting this. This is where we're getting to. But okay.
And corporations outside of the United States went on a U.S. dollar debt binge. The foreign dollar-denominated debt went from here all the way up to here, to the point where in 2015 it was 18% of GDP. The problem becomes when these countries and outside entities start having to pay back those loans, they have to sell their local currency to buy dollars to pay off that interest in principal. So what does that do? That creates more demand for those dollars. Therefore, the price or the value of that dollar relative to those other currencies goes up in the worldwide foreign exchange market. While at the same time...
Any comments there?
Oh, I mean, this is why this is the only reason why I buy British pounds.
Go on.
Well, I sit on the other end of this. So when the bubble comes down, right, then my British pounds end up being worth more than what I bought them for.
Mm.
But I mean, he's right so far.
Okay.
Interest rates in the major developed economies in the world have been going down. Europe, they're in negative territory. Japan.
I couldn't help us, think of the song "Turning Japanese" here, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Japan's interest rate's been basically nothing for a really long time.
Since the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
in negative territory. And until recently, the interest rates in the United States have been going up. So what that does, if you're a pension fund manager in Japan, or if you're a huge institutional investor in Europe, you're looking at interest rates going down, down, down. The market's not doing much. You're looking at interest rates going up in the United States, going from 0 to, let's say, 2% in 2020. And you see that as a very attractive investment opportunity compared to what you have at home. So all of this capital comes into the United States. But what has to happen? If capital comes in from Japan, that means they're selling those yen to buy dollars to invest in the United States stock market. Over here in Europe, they're selling euros to buy dollars to invest that money in the United States stock market. So that creates further demand for those dollars. Oh, but wait, there is more. Brent also believes that because all this capital is flowing into the United States, and for a variety of other reasons, we could get some serious inflation, which would drive interest rates higher in the future. Well, if interest rates go higher, what does that do to all of this dollar-denominated debt outside of the United States? That makes their debt payments higher. And you may say, well, George, how does that work? Because...
Go ahead.
No, I just said, yep. I was agreeing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you, and where he gets into where, yeah, you have adjustable rates, you're going to get crushed.
They're not taking out 30-year fixed rate mortgages. The debt they take out is adjustable rate, and they have to roll it over almost every 2 years. So they become a huge subprime borrower with basically an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage. When they took out this debt, let's say the interest rate was 2%. Well, if interest rates go up to 4%, that means when they roll it over, their interest payments are going to be a lot higher, which is going to do what? Create more demand for those dollars, increasing the value of the dollar relative to the local currency. The takeaway is that the dollar and U.S. stocks can potentially melt up at the exact same time. Step number 2.
There's something I want to add to that. One thing he's leaving out of this equation is the Federal Reserve sets interest rates, right? But by providing what is essentially the starting point of what an interest rate is, right? The Federal Reserve doesn't want the interest rate to go. If the Federal Reserve doesn't want the interest rate to go up, it won't. It doesn't matter where the money's going, right? If the interest rates start to go up, the Federal Reserve will just print a shit ton of money and lower the interest rate.
But they're printing up a ton of money now and not doing anything to the interest rate.
Yeah.
I think what he also touches upon in the country too now to get those dollars now to meet that demand of dollar, well, they have to increase their own currency and print their own money. So you know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, the foreign markets would print less money, right? Because they'll just have more of it floating, right? People are selling it, right, to buy U.S. dollars. So, like foreign banks, in response to this, should actually be causing deflation to try to equal everything back out. You know, whether they do that or not, you know, depends. But you don't really have to worry about the interest rate going up willy-nilly. That's there are systems and checks into place that literally stop that from happening.
Those are pretty new, right?
I mean, that's what the Federal Reserve's always done. That's like one of their main powers.
Didn't they jump up a bunch of percentage points in the 80s to fight off?
To fight off inflation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they. Was it the 80s? I thought it was 70s. But that's one way to fight inflation, right? That's what happens. See, I don't want to put it. The only way they'll drastically increase interest rates is if the government decides it doesn't want to tax anymore. Taxation fights inflation. So every time someone, remember that next time the politician comes out and goes, I want to cut your taxes, he's also saying, I want to cause inflation.
Isn't inflation kind of like a tax?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to come somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get hit. Right. It's going to happen. The only thing is, are you going to get hit with inflation and not fund your government? Or are you going to avoid inflation and fund your government? This is why tax breaks almost always immediately are followed by recessions.
All right, let's move on here. Any other questions?
Are we headed to a recession?
I mean, I don't think immediately. There are some bubbles that are at risk of like popping, but probably not for at least another 10 years.
No, because
you think that long?
Yeah. Any of the big things.
Someone mentioned earlier that I believe it was a burger, fries, and a soda was like $6, and then they said, well, now it's like 10 or 12. And then, well, if that is true overall, then obviously over time, right, there'd be less money to be had by the individual for more products, and that would lead to recession, would it not?
Okay, but these are two different things. So your working class level of products, right? The economy class of products, those prices are almost entirely set by how much money working class people have, right? You could have a perfect economy,
what the market will bear. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you could have a perfectly running economy, and if the working class somehow make a lot more money in a few years, all those prices will go up. Right? You'll have inflation just because there's money.
As I understand it, wages haven't gone up since Reagan. Because it's been basically flat throughout, maybe a little bit, but productivity has gone up 3 times that.
Yeah. Well, but this is for adjusted for inflation.
Well, yeah, but see, the wages have not kept up.
Yeah.
That's the point I was making. So.
And that goes back to my point that the numbers that you're getting for inflation don't account for, I believe, food and fuel. Are one of the 2 things that are not in that calculation for inflation. And meanwhile, one can easily see when they go to the grocery store or go out to eat that it's definitely much higher than 2%. I mean, you're probably looking at 10%. Yeah.
The time will tell, depending on how the stock market progresses, and the chain of events, currently in society, politics, and the world.
I'm going to move on with this video. I don't get too far.
Up so high that it becomes a bubble, and we get inflation at the exact same time. Huh? How is that even possible?
Should I replay that? Go back a little bit?
Yeah, because I didn't have this.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's go. It was right before that came up. I'll go here.
Melt up at the exact same time. Step number 2, the dollar going up so high that it becomes a bubble, and we get inflation at the exact same time. Huh? How is that even possible? To explore that further, let's check out a clip from my interview with Brent Johnson. You can see the entire interview posted this Saturday.
And I think a lot of people base their inflation expectations on the dollar losing value, because that's typically what you think, right? The currency loses value versus real thing, that's inflation. Well, that can happen. And I I'm not saying that that's impossible. And I think that eventually will happen. But in the short term, I think you could see a period where the dollar gets stronger and inflation picks up as well. And again, it hasn't started happening yet. And until the rest of the world starts to go into contraction, and the U.S. starts to get these flows, I don't think you're going to see it in a big way. But once it starts to happen, I think it'll develop rather quickly, and it'll become a vicious cycle very quickly.
And so I think.
What do you think about that, sir?
Okay, so what I'm confused about is I don't know if he was just unaware or if he was just setting it up. The first section, he in his first section, he is explaining how you can have inflation and a stronger dollar. Right, but he didn't mention that in the first section for some reason. The foreigners buying U.S. dollars creates a stronger dollar.
Right.
And he's showing the example of why they would be buying dollars when they see inflation happening. And so he's already explained this. I'm going to assume he's not dumb. I'm going to assume he actually knew he explained this, but he's making a section 2 for people that don't know. Specifically.
I'm not sure if I'm following you.
Foreigners buying U.S. dollars determines the strength of the dollar.
But he's saying there's an increase in demand from the foreigners buying now because it is getting stronger. So it becomes this whole.
Which also helps it, but it doesn't get stronger until people are buying it to start with.
And then, but what happens at the same time? Now you have this is what I'm finding confusing. Now the Federal Reserve is now printing up these other dollars, or pumping in the system.
Yeah, they're creating credit,
creating more debt too.
Well, I mean, debt, credit. They're not in econ. They're not exactly the same thing, but I think they're basically the same thing for purposes here.
Okay, so I don't know where I was at. So we have a situation. So if the demand is up for the dollars, but at the same time they're throwing more dollars in there, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it should bring the value of the dollar down drastically.
Well, it depends. Is any of that money they're printing entering the exchange market? Right? If you have people with U.S. dollars, but they're not selling the U.S. dollars for a foreign currency, the exchange market doesn't see that money existing.
Well, I think he goes into in this video because he starts to touch upon 3 different economies happening, like a local, global, and another one, a real economy, something I forget what he meant. I think he touches upon it here.
Yeah, I would say that's like a medium resolution look, right? Because he could break it down by individual sectors too, right? I mean that would probably make this video like an hour long.
Yeah, but I definitely encourage. Hey, anybody? I mean, this guy he's interesting, George Gammon, and I like how he does the whiteboard, and he's very educational.
The only problem I have with him is he's calling it a bubble, right? And he's not defining what a bubble is, right? A bubble is a growth that is not supported by anything, right? And by not supported by anything, I mean it's only supported by credit, essentially, something that has to go away. But technically, foreigners buying into the country, they're not doing that with credit, right? So that dollar isn't being propped up by credit. So I don't know what I understand. He's calling it a bubble because he thinks it's going to go away, but technically it's not a bubble.
Right? Because I'm calling it a bubble because we think it's going to pop.
Yeah, but technically it's not a bubble because it's actually supported by currency and not credit. Right? People can disinvest, right? People can disinvest in anything. But if you call anything that someone can disinvest in a bubble, then all you have is bubbles, and there isn't anything but bubbles.
Lawrence Welk and the bubble machine.
That's exactly what I think. A tiny bubble. Okay. Let me continue here.
I think what a lot of people are going to struggle with, they see
I'm struggling.
inflation being synonymous with the dollar losing value. And
exactly what I'm struggling with. Okay.
When you say that the dollar is losing value, or excuse me, going up in value, but yet we're having inflation locally, I think it would help if people see these as two completely separate markets. So you've got a market for the dollar outside of the United States. Well, I look at it actually as three separate markets. You've got a market for the dollar outside of the United States. You've got a market in the US that's the financial economy. And then you have the real economy. So the financial economy, inflation or deflation, would represent asset prices. The real economy would represent consumer prices. And this market outside of the United States would represent the dollar relative to other currencies. So that's why you can get an appreciation of the dollar and inflation, because the inflation is happening in basically a separate type of economy or a separate market. Am I explaining that?
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way to explain it. And if you need a little bit more proof, do this. Go back and look where the dollar index was 10 years ago, and look where it is now. It's 10 or 15% higher than it was a decade ago. Now go into your own life, or go look at the Dow. The Dow's up 3 times in the last 10 years. So there you've got asset price inflation. Now, if you don't think there's any CPI inflation, just go look at your own life. You know, are your health insurance bills higher? Is gas higher? Do groceries cost more? I mean, it doesn't take too much analysis to realize that it costs more today to live than it did 10 or 15 years ago. But yet the dollar's gone up 10 or 15%. So that right there shows you that you can have an appreciating dollar along with inflation.
You want to comment there, sir?
No, I think they nailed it.
But is that equivalent though to, like, let's say the cost of living to what you were making back when minimum wage was $5.25 and a candy bar cost you 59 cents? Now the minimum wage is $9 or $10 and candy bar costs you $1.69 for the same one. Does that justify? Is that equivalent to what the costs were and what they are now on the real market? That's what kind of where it gets a little out of whack, I think.
When I was younger, I'm an older person. When I was younger, $20 would get me, through the whole day, so to speak. Today, it's $100 that gets me through the whole day.
It's crazy.
Like I said, but cost of goods, obviously a bigger number of people, larger population.
Well, when you say go through the course to get you through a day, what do you mean exactly? What kind of? I mean, that seems like a lot of money.
Where are you spending $100 a day?
I can go through many days.
Wait a minute. Okay, the punchline is a woman. Okay, the $20 would have me, fed. We'd have a great time. Nowadays, it takes $100. Look, I'm adding in the gasoline, the food, everything that costs money.
So you're talking about like the cost
Viagra.
Viagra. No, like I said, I'm older. I'm not within that window.
Viagra's cheaper now.
Roofies and cocaine.
There you go.
I don't have a girl, but I can still orgasm. I'm good.
But you're just adding to the point that yes, things are costing more than they did 10 years ago.
Yeah, like I said, punchline, a woman. But there again, that's just how it works in this world. That's how it works. If you're smart enough to get in there, know where to be, you can profit big time by doing very little. Just click, 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 click. Okay, enter, click. Okay, I made $1 million today.
I could be a Nigerian prince.
Wall Street, those brokers, they make that kind of money a day. They make billions in a year. But who's going to tax them? Thank you, President Trump.
Oh, God. I don't know.
All hell Trump.
No, those men do exist. Just like if you look into it, those guys exist. They play that market, make billions in a year, pay little taxes. Oh, okay. Thank you, President Trump. Anyway, we'd have a far better society. Look, if I were to tax the rich, I would invest in health health and education would be priorities, man. Because if we have a country where if the majority of the men, are basically couch potatoes, as they're called in my old days, right? If a war really does break out and we need men that are smart and know what they're doing, guess what? We're not going to have them. So if they're not healthy and they're not educated, we're going to lose on the long run. And we're losing already. We're losing already by having a president who's getting away with things and nobody's.
Okay.
We should start Robin Hooding people. Just go start beating up rich people, take their money, and just throw it around.
Oh man, I hate having to mute people. I don't want to mute people because it's like I'm punching you in the mouth. You're in front of me, and it's not my it's not my style. But you say something about thank you, Donald Trump, taxes and stuff like that. But the tax code benefits businesses for way before Trump. Okay.
But you know what? I want to get back to the original point where all this started from. I think paying $20 to go across a bridge is way too much. It should be implemented into like the road tax. Like, a couple of cents on everybody could save everybody $20 over that bridge.
Yeah. And there's like a myth that with that particular bridge that the toll, when it was implemented at the time, was only going to be a temporary toll until the bridge was paid for. Meanwhile, it's been paid for,
right?
20 times.
Let me throw a monkey wrench in here. Rich people making billions of dollars, much more money than they could possibly spend, actually causes deflation. So if you think inflation's bad, maybe you should think rich people are good.
Maybe rich people should start spending their money into the,
well, that would cause inflation.
Oh, withholding the money causes for them holding on to the money.
Well,
and not spending it.
You invest that money into
circulation. Well, when they invest the money, then that's causing inflation. If they just hold on to it and shove it in a regular bank account, right? Then it's deflationary.
I hear part of the issue now. I don't want to get off the video too much, but is part of the issue that there's a lot of money just being parked, and or is it too much money in the system? I mean,
because they hold in the money, they have to then more money has to be put into the system because they're not letting it out, right? To compensate for what they're holding on to.
It's a juggling act, right? So
yeah,
you have all these little pits right around the economy, or where you could go, right? But when you try to move away from one, you can end up moving closer to another one. So you're just trying to juggle and balance everything, right? So if rich people started saving too much money, then it would be a problem, right? And if they start spending too much money, then it would be a problem, right? So you would have to adjust other things, right? Because you're like the economy is like this maniac guy trying to flip knobs constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then one guy just trying to guess what the other one's gonna do.
Yeah.
All right, let me go on. Ronan, let me. Whatever. I'm sorry. You just have a tendency to go on and on and on.
I blame Trump.
Blame Trump. All right, let me go back to this video. Okay, where is it?
Illuminati reptilians.
Let me grab the link. And I will put that in the outside chat for this video if you want to care to go subscribe to George. I like his videos. Seems like a good man.
Like I said in the video, you've got to look at this as three separate markets or economies. Within the United States, we have the financial economy, the real economy, and outside of the United States, we have the FX market, the foreign exchange markets. So the Federal Reserve is printing money. We know that the balance sheet is now over 4 trillion again. That is supplying excess dollars into the financial economy, which is also boosting stocks along with everything else that Brent Johnson is referring to. The banks are in charge of creating more supply for dollars to the real economy in the form of additional loans, consumer loans. So the banks create supply for the real economy, and the Fed is creating supply for the financial economy. But outside of the United States, we've got all this money coming in from Europe, from Japan, and other places. That creates demand for dollars, just like we outlined in step number 1. Additionally, we have the foreign dollar-denominated debt creating massive amounts of demand, especially when they have to roll over that debt. If interest
pause that for a second.
go high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I think the way he worded it might be confusing to anyone watching it. Money isn't coming in, demand's coming in. Money, right, is either how do I put it? Money is going into foreign people's pockets, right? Money isn't coming in, it's kind of sort of going out. Demand is coming in. Because he isn't labeled there as demand, right, and money. But there isn't any dollars moving from a foreign country into the marketplace in that exchange. He's not wrong. I think he's oversimplifying it for people.
Yeah, and you're complicating it for me right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, one thing I think I confused, I did catch, because sometimes you catch things when definitely when you watch a video 2-3 times. But isn't he saying that, okay, the Fed is pouring money into the financial economy?
Yeah,
but I would think that would be the banks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Because he was talking about the banks. I'm surprised there's not like another arrow from Fed to the banks there across. I don't know.
I mean, well, the Fed doesn't give loans to regular people, right? It's almost
giving it to the
it's almost always. Well, not directly. I would say yes, but not technically no. Right? When we made the Federal Reserve, people were afraid that the government just taking unlimited loans. So they made so the government can't directly borrow from the Fed. Right? So what the Treasury does is it makes bonds. And in order to buy those bonds, you have to be what's called a primary bond buyer or holder. There's a few different names, but the primary list of people who are allowed to buy the bonds directly from the government. That's the end of that relationship. Now, with a wink and a nudge, the Fed comes along and more or less guarantees to buy any bond that those primary bond buyers can't sell. This is why there's never been a Treasury bond failure, right? Because the Reserve comes in and just buys whatever didn't sell to the general populace, and in that way, the government is getting money from the Fed. Loans from the Fed, but the Fed also pays all of its profits directly to the Treasury. Right, so that's why saying it's a loan, to me, doesn't make sense. Because any profit the Fed would make off the loan they give to the government would just go back to the government because the Fed pays all of its profits to the Treasury.
Monopoly money sure is fun.
Well, I mean, this is what happens when you have.
Why it's one of the safest things to invest, right? Is the T-bills, because it's always going to be guaranteed by the government via the Fed.
Yeah. I mean, T-bills will always pay off until the United States is destroyed. Right? If you think America's going to exist, you should invest in T-bills.
All right, now that I'm more confused, what's going on?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I do realize, when it comes to like economics, it seems like it's not like it's not. Everyone has their own. It's almost like a religion in a lot of ways, right? Because
how they spin it, yeah. So all of my disagreements with this guy has just been the language he's using.
Okay.
Right. As far as the relationships are concerned, right? I'm not disagreeing with him. Like, he's just talking about factual information and is trying to translate it to his audience.
Right. So good. So at least that most of us can kind of understand and get a grasp on it. That's why I kind of like it, because I seem like I'm getting, even though I probably cannot regurgitate a lot of this information, I feel like he gives me ability to, the way he does it, to grasp the concept of what's going on,
Yeah, I like him so far. He's on the better end of the YouTube financial people.
Yeah, I definitely encourage his other bit. He's into real estate. He lives in Colombia now. He talks about investing in properties and stuff like that.
So you have this situation where if we have an oversupply of money coming into the real economy within the United States, and an oversupply of money coming into the financial economy, and we get the velocity of that money spinning at a faster rate, you could see inflation pick up within this economy. You could see asset prices increase in this economy, in other words, asset inflation. And you could see the dollar going up in the foreign exchange markets against all these other currencies, because of this demand component. Step number 3.
I can pause it for a second.
Sure.
When he said oversupply, right? In a factual sense, there is no such thing as an oversupply, right? That's all in relation to what you think the goal should be. Right, so when the Fed's pumping out money, obviously the Fed doesn't think it's an oversupply, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. He thinks it's an oversupply because he doesn't want this other thing to happen. I'm just saying that's a bias he's put into the information, and I wanted to let people be aware of it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's just,
but even though, there is a bubble coming. Now, is there a bubble going to burst?
Most definitely. There's always going to be a bubble that's going to burst.
Is this because of what the Feds are doing?
I would say all bubbles are tangentially related to what the Fed does, but that's because the Fed is involved in literally everything. Right, so this is the problem. Do you blame the people that took loans that they couldn't pay back, or do you blame the bank that gave them the loans to start with?
A little bit me, a little bit you.
Right,
Yeah.
and then on the back end, then do you blame the Fed for giving the loan to the bank in order so the bank could give the loan to the person? Right, so it's all connected. Right, you just depends on how far you want the blame to go, how much you want to spread it out.
If you look at it like if they control the markets in the first place, and the blame should lead on the first one that has the money to let out in the first place, knowing that the markets are going to be fair for those loans to be fulfilled by the way the market's going in that area at that time. They know better. They know what's going on.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem, right? So the Fed is contractually obligated to give the loan.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the Fed can give extra loan or reduce interest rates or move money around a little bit on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it falls more on the banks then, because they're the ones that regulate or approve the loans. So they should, they're just handing out loans willy-nilly. Were they giving loans out at the less interest rate compared to what the person was making, or were they looking at the overall picture? That's a problem to that. to get the loan going and what they were just making at the time to be paid on that monthly payment, not attributing the total amount of interest when the loan is at its full peak, then that blame falls onto the bank knowing what it's getting itself into.
Okay, but there's another player that comes into play in this, and that's the government.
So
right?
something.
Okay, so before Bush, right? Not even just Clinton, but a few presidents before Bush, right? There is this big push to give, let's just say, black people loans, right? Because black people, they were in red line. I'm sure you've heard of red line districts, right? And black people were even more poor going back in time, right? So they couldn't get loans, so they couldn't buy a house, they couldn't do all the things that other white people saw other white people doing.
Right.
So there was this big push to force banks to give loans to people that couldn't afford loans. But the only way they could do that was to give them incredibly shitty loans. That's the first step. Then Bush comes
That makes
along.
no sense, really, though. That's just a
Right?
horrible plan. Yeah,
Right.
that's that
It is a horrible
freaking
plan.
liberals, right? The bleeding heart liberals. And why
But
can't the
it
black
is a-
man he can have a Cadillac too?
It is a horrible plan, but the problem is the opposition to that was a bunch of people that didn't understand how to word phrases, so everything they said came off as racist.
Yeah, that's they lack that.
But there's a second step to this.
Probably a shitty loan because you're either going to have a variable rate or you're going to have a higher interest rate.
Yeah,
and that's because it could be higher risk.
Well, this was the birth of the 80-year mortgage, right? That's insane.
Does that exist?
Oh, I don't think it exists anymore, but it did for about 30 years.
I didn't hear about 80. I mean, I just recently heard about like 40, 50-year mortgages they were thinking about going to, and I was like, what?
Well, a lot of this stuff has been regulated out, but there's a second step to this. Bush gets into office, and then he notices, and a bunch of other people notices, hey, there's a bunch of poor white people too. And so
they're hanging around the black kids.
Yeah, he does this big push to where banks get rewarded for giving loans to poor people, like extremely poor people. Like, of course, these poor people can't afford these loans.
The same thing happened in the housing market just recently. They were giving them little bonuses for these loans.
Well, no, those bonuses still exist. They didn't get removed, right? Dodd-Frank was supposed to remove them, but that all got gutted. So all those awards still exist for doing the same thing that caused the crash. But with those two, when you had the older 80-year mortgages and then all the bad mortgages that came after that, and then you added on rewards to giving bad loans to poor people, right? That's how you get a bubble. None of these loans can be paid back. Like, the odds of them being paid back are stupendously low.
I have a solution, sir. I have a solution. You lower the age of from 18 to like some 16. So now you've just created a whole another population. You can sign off on loans. And I'll be fucking me.
Yeah, to spread the debt out. That will keep us afloat. Hey, little Billy.
As soon as they come out of the womb, sign here.
Yeah, hey, little Billy, you're not carrying your weight. Here's a $100,000 loan. So actually, everyone is a little bit to blame. All of those players are a little bit to blame for that big, the Great Recession, as they call it, in 08. But it started because people wanted to do something good, but they were too ignorant to know of the consequences of what they were doing.
When did it get to like 30-year mortgages? I mean, from my understanding, in the 50s, you didn't have 30-year mortgages. Because you had wages that people could afford to buy a house within a few years, outright.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't make enough to pay your house back under 30 years, it didn't exist, right? Those people were considered a bad credit risk, and they still are. I mean, so much can happen to a person in 30 years that would make them fail to pay back their loan.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's insane. So
When
many people,
accident or sickness, and you could really.
so many people have no business getting a mortgage, right, or home loan. Like, I'm sorry to anyone that works at McDonald's or works a minimum wage job. You should not have a home.
Yeah, this is a group of you.
I know technically it's more expensive to have an apartment, but any loan you get for your home is just going to cause you to destroy your life.
Unless you work at Taco Bell, they're paying $100,000.
Yeah, apparently, like you work at Taco Bell.
Hey, that's right. I work at Taco Bell. I have promised to get right. They'll give you a loan on the potential that you might be a manager at Taco Bell.
And then I could afford to go over that bridge every day to get to work at Taco Bell.
Yeah. And the real problem that our economy is facing is that more and more of the percentage of total jobs are becoming those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's more of a service economy, definitely.
Yeah, and that exacerbates every problem that we had beforehand.
Because we don't produce anything. So I mean, how do we get manufacturing back? I mean, and still pay well.
Build a wall around India.
Almost all manufacturing jobs, if they came back, they just get automated, which isn't a bad thing. I would prefer it to be automated here than being produced over there still.
Because you would have maintenance people and workers there anyway to make sure a lot of automation goes right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
So yeah, what do you do in an economy where the amount of technical expertise you have to be successful in life exceeds the ability of most people?
Mm-hmm. Technology is getting easier and easier in a way for I guess for the because everything's becoming so compartmentalized. It's in different categories where before you would have to know how a computer is built, put together, programmed in order to run a machine. Now the machines come with a pre-programmed computer already there with push button icons. You know what I mean? There's not really.
Yeah, but no one's going to pay you a lot to push a button.
Well, they still have to be trained in that certain little field, but they still don't have to know beforehand or how it's made. They just need to know how to work it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is all like on the job training stuff you learn in like a few days.
Yeah. So it's simpler to have that like Henry Ford we're talking about earlier, just had one person do one job repeatedly. So they don't have to worry about how the whole car is made. They just need to know how to put a bumper on or how to put a seat in, or how to plug in a stereo or something.
Yep, the end of the craftsman.
Exactly. Yeah, it's sad.
All right, we got about a few more minutes on this video. Plus, in general, this hang is going pretty long. Not that I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. Let's get through. I'll get through this video. Oh, and Ronan, stop being so passive aggressive now. Okay.
Step number 3: Brent Johnson's Endgame. We have a chart of the dollar index. 1975 to 2020 goes up to 130. During the 1970s, massive inflation. So dollar falls out of bed. Volcker comes along, jacks interest rates. Dollar goes up to its all-time.
There it is in the right the early 80s.
Yep, you're right.
High. Insert the Plaza Accord. That's when there was an intentional devaluation of the dollar. Dollar goes all the way down over the next couple of years, muddles along, goes back up in 2000. Then
wait. I want to go back to that. I want to go back. Where is it?
For the Plaza Agreement?
Yeah. Where'd it go? I want to read that. You didn't give me enough time to read it. What happened? Oh, man.
Up to 130. During the 1970s, massive inflation.
I went back
the
too far.
dollar falls out of bed. Volcker comes along, jacks interest rates. Dollar goes up to its all-time high. Insert the Plaza Accord. That's when there was an intentional devaluation.
The Plaza Accord. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, the G5. Oh, I just said it right there.
G5 agreement among the G5 nations: France, Germany, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan to manipulate exchange rates by depreciating the U.S. dollar relative to the Japanese yen and the German Deutschmark.
Yeah, we were destroying their economies.
We got even it out.
Yeah, and Japan's still suffering.
Yeah, and Japan got the least amount of benefit out of that because they were their whole entire economy was basically servicing the U.S. economy.
Make us more transistors there, Japanese.
Of the dollar. Dollar goes all the way down over the next couple of years, muddles along, goes back up in 2000, then comes to an all-time low because of all that quantitative easing around 2010. That's when all of those foreign entities loaded up on that dollar-denominated debt. The problem is the dollar goes back up to where it is today. They're going to have a very hard time paying back that debt. And the magnitude of that debt is what's really shocking. Editor, throw up that chart. This is outstanding emerging market debt denominated in currencies other than their own, so mostly US dollars, as a share of their entire GDP. Turkey, Hungary, Argentina, all over 50%. And it goes down to China, which still has over 20% of GDP in debt in a foreign denominated currency. So if we connect the dots, we can tell that the only way these countries are going to be able to service that debt is if they print more of their own currency. Check out this chart of the Turkish lira.
But is that true?
Oh, that's the way they have set up already. There are other ways they could do it, but it would be like an extreme change to their system. They would have to really change things. Right, they're set up now to do this because it's the fastest and easiest way to do it.
As of now, I don't know what's going on in Turkey. I'm surprised we're not hearing more about what's going there. But I know of Argentina's inflation is going through the roof.
Yeah,
and their currency is getting devalued. So what do you? Yeah, you're gonna have to change your whole system, new currency. What?
You can't. I mean, you could just declare a reset.
Right. I mean, that's what people are saying a reset happen. But would not a reset have to involve a currency in part backed up by gold?
No, you could reset with another fiat currency.
Are you talking about the one?
Well, let's just keep repeating the same mistake.
No, I mean you can do it in a way that doesn't cause 50% of your GDP to be debt.
But when a currency backed up a little bit by gold would kind of stop this problem of out of control debt in a way, and allowing people just to print money without nothing kind of backing it up, as they say.
Yeah, but it would make your economy a third world economy.
Wait, no. Even in just backed up in part by gold, partially, say 10%.
Yeah, well, any sort of backing up, right, entails you're pinning the currency to that thing, which means you're limiting how much of the currency there is.
But sir, I'm looking. I mean, we had such growth in the 50s. I mean, some of the right.
Yeah,
this is all with a gold-backed currency up to the 70s. Up to
all of our growth in the 50s, though, was from an increase in real products, right? Production, houses, sweepers. Yeah, like that. We were finishing industrialization.
Was that dollar stronger then?
I mean, at that point, I think it was still locked with gold. We had that agreement with Britain. Right. So I mean, yeah, I think so actually, but it's not. It was a different system, so I don't think they're really that comparable.
I see if there's gonna be a reset. That's gonna be gold back.
I hope not.
Why would all these countries be buying up all this stock up on all this gold, increasing this buying of gold?
They're going to reset to a global standard for fair trade. What? So it's going to be part of the whole New World Order system.
How about a cryptocurrency, which I think they already have in a cryptocurrency partially backed up by gold is already.
I'm gonna get some blood money. I don't play around with them Crips.
Yeah, so I mean, the problem with it is the less money you have, the harder it is to get money. The harder it is to get money, the harder it is for businesses to like invest and grow and expand, and the harder it is to start new businesses.
We always say white man, it makes no sense.
It becomes harder for people to buy products, right? You're making your economy like it's back in the 1800s.
But what if it just takes less money to do these things?
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Right. It will. But the point is that it becomes harder to earn money. I'm not talking about the total amount of money, right? Because obviously all the totals are going to drop.
Why does it get harder to earn money?
Because there's less of it to circulate around the same number of people.
People still need things done.
Yeah. Yeah.
People still have to eat shit and have a place to sleep.
You can do it on the streets of San Francisco for free.
That's when we tax them.
Shit tax. Yeah, catch him in the act.
See, right, when you have a fiat currency system and a Federal Reserve system like we have, when a business has the ability to expand, they can immediately do it. But they don't have to fight the economy to gather up enough money.
So what's wrong? Okay, and that would take getting credit, right? And you need more credit available, but still, wouldn't it also put people in check and not default on loans? I get right. You're gonna have less. You're gonna have to go.
Well, no, it would make it more likely to default on loans because it's going to be harder to get money to pay the loans.
Not if you don't say that. Not if the loans are too risky, right? Isn't part of the problem giving out money to fucking anybody, and even though the risk is very high, so you make people more accountable. And if you want to start a business, you have a good business plan and show that you are possibly going to make some kind of money. But you should be, if you default or whatever, at least small portion of that loan could be kind of backed up by gold.
Oh, but then you run into the problem, right, of grinding your economy to a halt. Right. So the solution, we've actually already had the solution. Right. We used to keep investment banks and your Main Street bank separate. We used to heavily regulate your Main Street bank loaning, right? And over the course of almost 60 years now, 50 some years, we've been removing all those regulations. Mm-hmm. Right, that's how you get a situation. Well, and then also in the case where I mentioned where we add rewards to actually giving bad loans, which makes it even worse. Mm. But the actual, we already had the solution, right? And that is to literally make people accountable for the things that they do.
So we need to, okay. All right. So we got to take a couple steps back. We got to rein in the banks.
Yeah. We need to regulate the banks.
So where Trump is wanting to get rid of some these are different regulations, but others need to be tightened.
Yeah, I mean, some are good, some are.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's a regulation doesn't mean it's bad.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Depends on where it is and what you're trying to do.
I definitely want standards in place, especially if you're going to build my house. I want to drink my water. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because you live in this economy, you don't want banks giving out billions in loans to people who can never pay it back. Because then you're going to end up paying for it. And you also don't want those banks taking all of that and investing it in or gambling it in some sort of exchange market. Right? Because that just adds an incentive to do it more.
I'm hearing, because of the bank's ability to Yeah, pretty much like I see. I hear, and I'm hoping this ain't gonna happen, but it's already happening in some parts, some countries, where they want pensions renegotiated now because they took the money that was put in by those workers, and since they had the ability to use that money and then put it, in other these risky investments or whatever, not securities, blah blah blah, fucking with people's money. That seems like that's gonna be a problem coming down the pike.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you had this big change from regular retirement funds to 401ks and IRAs. Right. That's just like I want to gamble my future.
Mm.
Now I have an IRA, but that's because I fiddle with this stuff all the time, and it's only like 10% of my retirement.
Mm. All right, get 2 minutes left here. Wait, I didn't even check the room. Ronan, you okay? Ronan.
You still have him muted? Or...
Oh, he can unmute himself, can he?
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh, I unmuted him now. Ronan?
Yes.
You all right there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm learning stuff. That's good.
I know how you get. All right, I'm going to let me. 2 more minutes. Any comments out? Oh, okay. A few people still watching us. Awesome. Okay. Do we still have to go back a little? I'll go back 10 seconds. Yeah.
So if we connect the dots, we can tell that the only way these countries are going to be able to service that debt is if they print more of their own currency. Check out this chart of the Turkish lira and the Argentinian peso. Both these countries and the corporations within these countries are suffering horribly as a result of that strong dollar. And Brent Johnson sees the dollar going even higher, possibly to an all-time high, just like back in 1984-85. This would bring on a Plaza Accord 2.0. I've got a video on this. We'll put a link in the description below. How would the U.S. pull off another intentional devaluation? Generally, the Fed creates additional money supply by pumping it directly into the financial economy, and the banks do the same thing by additional lending and pumping that into the real economy. That's where the supply of dollars comes from. But in this circumstance, the Fed would print trillions and trillions of dollars and inject them directly into the FX market outside of the United States. This would bring the dollar crashing down, and at a certain point, I think all those countries that got burned on the way up would say, hell no, we're not dealing with the dollar ever again.
What do you think about that, sir? You think that can happen? You think that'll happen?
I think it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. I mean,
how does the United States maintain confidence for them to continually use the dollar?
Well, I mean, okay, so for like the first Plaza Accord, right? That was a diplomatic move. All right. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure that we would even come to the table on a second one.
World currency. It's a new world order.
Right.
And I love your Bush. I love your Bush.
And the thing is, if we came to the table and tried to everyone came to the table and tried to negotiate this, as he pointed out, all those other people, right, that would get burned by devaluing the dollar. Right, they would come in and try to do the opposite. Like I don't think any of that's going to happen. I don't think that it's going to go to an all-time high. It could, but obviously, if it goes to an all-time high, that's a rare occurrence. Anyway, I don't see as much doom and gloom in this as he does.
It's possible though.
What's he selling?
It's possible. I mean, the confidence in the dollar almost entirely comes from
Vic. He's not selling anything.
I wouldn't say.
I'm sure.
No, I was thinking like, what's his gimmick? What's he selling? Why is he saying this? It's what's so. the shocking and the salesman kind of pitch thingy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No,
I don't think he's selling anything. I mean, I think he's just doing YouTube videos.
He's trying to give information.
Cool.
Trying to pay forward. So, what do you think, Sir, is what's the possibility here of this happening? I know it's low for you. What do you think?
I would say less than 1%.
Wow. Okay. All right. He I think it was the video before this. I think he mentioned like 4 people who would think that it would hit the dollar, go all the way up high before it crashes. And then there was 4 other economists, or I guess investors, whatever, not people. I mean, the likes of Jim Rickers, Peter Schiff. It was like eight different guys. They were kind of split, you know. Some said, "All right, the dollar's not. No, they don't see the dollar going all the way up first. They think that just dollars gonna just come down, not go before going up at all. As high as he says it is." I'm gonna finish this off.
That's when I think the petrodollar and the reserve currency status could be in serious jeopardy. So Brent Johnson believes the USD will be the winner as it takes the stairs up, but gold will be the winner as it takes the elevator all the way down. So there are a lot of experts out there that have opposing opinions. Brent Johnson.
Oh, here we go.
Jeff
Here's the names. I thought it was a different video, but he names them.
Snyder, Jim Rogers, all think the dollar is going to go up in the short term. Where guys like Luke Groman, Jeff Gunlock, and Peter Schiff think it's going directly down. But one thing that they can all agree on, and that is in the long term, gold goes up and the dollar goes down. For more content.
Okay, so it pretty much ends there. So they're saying in the long term, what does that mean, right?
I mean, okay, so here, my main piece of advice to anyone that wants to know about just watching the economy and trying to figure out what's going to happen, you just need to basically emulate Warren Buffett. Right? Warren Buffett specifically says he doesn't make predictions about the economy. Right? Just making the prediction.
You know what Warren
changes
Buffett's
the
doing
economy.
Right
now? Huh?
You know what Warren Buffett's doing right now?
Yeah, he's holding a bunch of short-term T-bonds, essentially.
Like $100 billion of money he's still holding on to.
Well, the news is saying it's cash, but it's not cash. It's T-bonds. They're like 1-year T-bonds.
Okay, but he could cash those in if he wanted to. Cash.
Yeah, he could cash those in about any time he wanted to.
Yeah. Well, they're saying no because there's a lot of these what they call zombie companies. Do I have like a .com situation going on? Overvalued companies, and they're saying Warren Buffett's just sitting on the sidelines. He's holding on to his cash and waiting to buy some businesses real cheap.
But this is what Warren Buffett always does.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean,
Warren Buffett,
one of the biggest amounts, though, that I think that's the thing. It's like the largest amount he's ever held.
Well, yeah, but it's always stayed the same percentage of his wealth.
Oh, okay.
He does everything in percentage. So it is getting bigger, and it gets bigger all the time, but he's holding the same percentage out there in liquid assets as he always has.
I thought he was holding higher than usual.
No.
I don't know.
No, he always has it there because he doesn't always even wait for a crash to happen or anything, right? A lot of his money now is made, right? So let's say a company goes public or a company needs a loan, right? They go to Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett goes, "Okay, I could buy 10% of your stock at the going rate, or because I'm Warren Buffett and you really need it and I have the cash, you can give me 20% off."
Yeah.
That's what Warren Buffett does.
It's like he can control the monopoly board with all the cards. Start to make deals.
Yeah, I mean, when you need the money and I'm Warren Buffett, I get to pick how much I pay.
That's a fun part about being rich, right? Playing Monopoly, you can like mess with people. Oh, you don't have $200? Just give me that property right there, and we'll call it even for now. You want to see them suffer.
You can mess with people, but you can also be, you can do a lot of good.
What's the fun of that? Oh, sorry.
I mean, the whole point when he says it, he said it multiple times during my life. I've heard him say it. I don't try to predict the economy, right? Because the economy is made up of human beings, and 80% of them at any given time are not acting rationally, which means you can't tell the future.
Margaritaville,
right? So that's why Warren Buffett holds on. Is it 20% or 30% of his assets in something easily liquidatable? Because he's waiting for shit to happen. Right? He's not trying to predict anything. He's just prepared at all times.
That's smart though. I mean, he doesn't want to, keep certain percentages away, like 10% into savings, but then you take 30% of that after a certain amount of years and put that into this, and you got to, or you're going to be fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm fucked. Dang it.
I mean, if you guys want extremely basic investment advice, just invest in CDs at your bank. BroJo goes,
How about U.S. savings bonds? I invested in those.
Yeah. The only risk in those is that they tend to take longer.
Right. That's what it's more to me. It was the most stable investment when I was a young man. So that I've been investing, since I was a young man. So, I thought it was. Yeah, I can wait 5 years, and then I'll just turn it over. You know what I mean? And I keep turning it over, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I just don't tell I don't know the exact situations of everyone in the room, but I tend to avoid telling working class people to invest in T-bonds because sometimes working class people can't wait 5 to 10 years to get the money they put into a T-bond.
Well, it's not like I was at minimum wage.
Yeah. But that's why I avoid saying it. That's why I say CDs, because you can get a 1-year CD.
Yeah, it's short term. Yeah, I understand it. I understand the short term aspects of it. It's well appreciated on my part, but to me, it was like, nah, it's all right. I'll just keep working and keep saving, keep working, keep saving, and here I am.
Gold.
Hey, gold's a gamble.
Gold's 20%. Well, we're up though. We're on the rise, Serbs. 20% in the past year.
I know, but there are stocks that perform better than gold.
I think overall gold is overall picture. I don't know how far back we're gonna go. I mean, it depends what kind of window you're gonna go.
Johnson & Johnson, since their founding.
Since the founding?
Yeah, since the founding.
Since the founding was like 100 years.
Yep, they appreciate constantly. They are oddly recession proof. Right? They might drop a little bit in recession, but they don't drop with everyone else.
How many companies like Johnson & Johnson?
Oh, in the world? Probably like 10. There's not many of them. But the important thing to factor in is Johnson & Johnson pays dividends, which is why people buy. If you go to any sort of portfolio manager, right? There's a few different kinds, right? And he gives you the report, every year, every few months, however often you want it. It lists everything he's done. You will see blue chip stocks like Johnson & Johnson listed in there, and they will be like 30% of your investment.
Let's see where they're at now. Okay, Johnson & Johnson is at $145. Let me screen share this chart for you. Hold on. Let's see. You see that? There we go. Okay. Let's go back all time. Let's see how far back. They only go back as far as January 85. Why?
Oh, they go back farther than that. They just don't have record of it there.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, it's just
Hmm?
it's like recession proof. It's just up.
No.
And the key point, the major thing is their dividend yield.
2000 February, it was only a dip there. Let's see. 2009.
Right. And they pay you. Well, they've been paying over 2% for decades. Right. Which is at or above inflation every year. Essentially every year. Right. So your stock is consistently growing and they're paying you money every year that pays for the inflation on what you invested. And you don't have to worry about unloading gold.
Oh. Let's see, let me go last 3 years here. Let's see. Yeah. So I need a nice dip. Maybe it can dip back down to maybe 129, 30, 130.
Oh yeah, it will fluctuate about. Well, you have your breakout lines and everything, so it'll fluctuate about $20, right around whatever its average is.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep more of a watch on Johnson Johnson. If we get a nice, if we can get a nice dip right back down there.
Yeah, and that's when you buy Johnson and Johnson.
Exactly. Alrighty.
They're so stable because the people that buy them to keep them.
And of course, I get as a disclaimer, sir, that because we cannot give financial advice here.
Can we not? Oh, okay.
Well, we know. Well, you have to express that you have interest in Johnson Johnson.
Oh yeah, I guess I do. I technically do have interest in Johnson and Johnson.
I like their powder.
Let's see here.
Powder. Now let's see what let me do a search here. Exactly. Well, unless sir, you could already tell us what products besides baby powder.
Well, I mean, they make oils and stuff too. They make skincare supplies.
Yeah, I know. But you're saying they're most popularly known for.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they hold interest in other things too. Like I think they have interest in like another food company. Like because they more or less actually became a holding company over the last like 20 years.
I bet it's Gerber. It's not like they go hand in hand.
Pharmaceuticals, yes. Medical devices, yeah. Also, yeah. I forgot they're based right here in Jersey. They have 250 subsidiary companies with operations in 60 countries and products sold in over 175 countries.
Condoms in Libya.
Condoms in Libya. Let me give you there's a Wikipedia. 134 years ago, they were founded.
Yep.
In the snake oil days.
They are uncharacteristically responsible with their business.
Mm-hmm.
Assets of $152 billion. Oh, they made Tylenol. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. See, remember that whole big scare?
Yep.
When everyone discovered your body isn't actually a chemistry set.
That was the time to fucking buy fucking Johnson Johnson, I bet, right when that came out.
Oh,
fucking...
yeah. Yes, it was, BroJo.
Yeah.
That is when I bought 137 shares of Johnson & Johnson.
Nice. Nice.
I knew they're not going anywhere. No one gives a fuck about Tylenol doing shit.
Fuck, yep. Shit. That would have been the move. Fucking right there. Very good, sir. Well, that's like the last good thing I had like that, because I don't get involved in that shit, but I did take advantage of the whole when fucking Citibank sold off and stuff. Remember when they were like dead stock went all the way down? Yeah, I took advantage of that. That was nice.
Yeah. I mean the swing investors and your long-term investors all sit and wait for crashes to happen, while the day traders are like trying to avoid crashes constantly.
I was thinking about Deutsche Bank, because that's supposed to like everybody's saying that's on the way out. They're done, but will they let it die?
I don't know. I mean, I got rid of Deutsche Bank forever ago and got a bunch of Royal Bank of Scotland.
What was it at when you
the Royal Bank of Scotland? I can look it up here.
Deutsche Bank. Well, how much?
Oh, I don't even remember what I sold it at.
Yeah,
I didn't really make anything off of it. It was kind of just a wash.
Well, last time I checked, Deutsche was like 7 something. Now it's 8.6. Yeah. Let's see. But let's go all time. Damn, look at this. What's that in 06, 07? Right before the crash.
Yeah, right before the crash. Because they were the foreign bank that bought the most off that exchange. Everyone lost faith in them. They lost a shit ton of money. Actually, they're probably not going to go away.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, it was like $7 like a couple of months, and I'm thinking, oh well, what the fuck, $7, and I don't know if they're gonna let them go away, and could it get back propped up easily? I mean, look how fucking low it is now compared overall.
Yeah, so I would say if you had like $200 you didn't need for anything,
yeah, you
could buy Deutsche Bank and then wait 20 years. Yeah, it might not take that long, right? But the idea is it's going to take a while probably for them to come back. But I don't think they're going to go anywhere though.
Yeah. Okay. Again, we are not a financial. We do not give advice here. We're just making suggestions.
Oh yeah. Well, I have no interest in Deutsche Bank, so.
Look at that 3-month performance, 20%. 20%, Joe. I mean, even if 20% in 3 months is better than any CD you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like anything else, it's just about timing, right? It's all about timing.
It's about timing, and it's also about your ability to unload it.
Yeah, and not getting attached to it, and the emotional, putting your emotions in check. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, so many people get burned on the stock market because they wait until everyone's selling to try and sell it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you know what happens? No one buys your stock.
Yeah.
And you just have it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So either you invest in a company that's going to like you do like dividend investing or something, right? Where you're just investing because the dividend yield is going to pay you back. Right. And then when you die, maybe your kid will get it or sell it or something. Right. And then there's I'm going to sell this before any crash happens. And that's the gamble.
Yeah.
Because like if something stupid happens and Johnson & Johnson takes a 20% dip, me and everyone else is just going to buy more Johnson & Johnson.
Right. Yeah. Because it's got a good track record. Come on.
Yeah. It's not gonna go anywhere because it's never went anywhere, and at that point, it's just a self-reinforcing mechanism.
Yeah. The only way you'd go anywhere if it
It's
was
like marrying an ugly girl.
Like it would have to come out that like all of the members of Johnson & Johnson are just like ritualistically murdering children,
right,
for it to go away. It's
I'll be Ronan left. Okay. Have a good day, Ronan. Yeah. Well, my friend, it has been 3 hours. I'm getting hungry and thirsty.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
Same here.
It was really good. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Vic and Ronan. Yeah, good show.
Thank you.
Good show. A lot of good information out there. And all right. I don't know. Till next time. Peace out.
Boy.
Adios.
Boy.